Hey guys, this is Juan with the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, letting you know that this episode is brought to you by San Marcos Mexican Restaurants, located right here at 2301 Southwest 59th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Check them out as they have weekday specials Monday through Friday, and don't forget $5 margaritas on Wednesdays. It is the go-to medicine to get you over that hump day. And don't forget to let Abel know that the Cine-Men Movie Podcast sent you to get 10% off your entire purchase. 2301 Southwest 59th Street. Great food and even better customer service. San Marcos Mexican Restaurant, the only restaurant of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
A piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do? You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Happy Monday, moviegoers. Welcome to episode 199. Welcome to Spawn, and welcome to the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and I am joined by the cast, the crew, the guys. Zacchaeus.
Thank you very much.
Edward.
Hey, how's it going, folks?
Craig.
Yo.
What a Monday, guys, and what a day, you know. What a weekend. We got some 80s here where we're recording from live here in Oklahoma City. It is a nice weekend. Did you guys have a good weekend, Zach?
I did, yes. Sorry, I thought we were talking about Elvis today, so.
Not yet. Craig, you have a good weekend?
I did. I had a good weekend.
What about you, Edward?
Man, always a good weekend. You know, got some stuff done.
Always a good weekend.
When does he not have a good weekend is a better question.
It's a lot.
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but guys, it is episode 199. We're talking about Spawn. We're a week away from episode 200, live on location at Rodeo Cinema. Speaking of Rodeo Cinema, Kara, a little bit later on, is going to be joining us from Rodeo Cinema as our Pardon the Pandemic series continues. It's been fun series. We're not going to interview anybody special next week unless we have some live guests join us at the show. And then we will finish the Pardon the Pandemic series off with someone special from San Marcos Mexican Restaurants. But nonetheless, guys, I'm excited. Episode 199, Spawn. I can't wait to talk about it. But if you guys have not joined us yet, if this is your first time on the new YouTube channel, last week we talked about Hustle, and it was a fun episode. It was a girthy episode, but we talked about Adam Sandler's new Netflix movie. We had two very special guests. So I highly recommend you go back and listen to that episode wherever you can listen to podcasts at, or right here on the YouTube channel that you see Friday the 14th every single Wednesday. So I'm excited for today's episode. You can listen to it as well on Podbean, Spotify, Anchor, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts at. And then the social media, you guys can find us on the social media. It's facebook.com/The Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Instagram is all one word, The Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Twitter is @Cinemen405, or you could email us at cinemen921@gmail.com. That's CINEMEN921@gmail.com. Because at the end of the episode, we share the mailbag. We get in there and dig out some mail. As long as there ain't no bills in there. No, man, I got plenty of them. No bills. So yeah. But next week is huge. We're gonna keep mentioning it probably throughout the episode. You guys can win one of these next week if you guys are watching on the YouTube page or the YouTube, you guys can win a San Marcos gift certificate. We're gonna have some door prizes. Some prizes behind me will be door prizes, movie posters, action figures, wall hangs.
What about that Texas flag behind you?
No, we got a Manning coming to Austin, Texas. So
Get rid of that Turbo Man, dude.
That's being saved for one person. Edward's truck is going to be a door prize. The truck that he's in right now. So
sorry about that.
So you guys can check all that out. Door prizes next week, Monday, July 4th, live on location at Rodeo Cinema, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So you guys don't have to show up and hang out all day. Show up, put your head in, give us a deuce, and say see you later.
Give us a yo-yo.
A yo-yo.
Hey.
But yeah, other than that, guys, I'm excited. So should be a fun episode. We got a new top 5 this week. And then we're talking about the 25th anniversary of Spawn. So should be pretty fun. But Zach, speaking of Rodeo Cinema, I think you got some stuff you need to talk about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Johnny mentioned, come see us next Monday, July the 4th. We're talking all about Independence Day. Come say hi, tell us your likes, dislikes, and just hang out with us. But as always, Rodeo Cinema is our Oklahoma City's unique non-for-profit art house movie theater located in the stockyards of Oklahoma. Their address is 2221 Exchange Avenue, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. If you're not there to hang out with us, go see Elvis, the new Baz Luhrmann movie with Austin Butler and Tom Hanks, which I'll be talking about in my recent watches. So, yeah, like I said, come join us next week for Independence Day.
Come one, come all.
And the 200th episode will be live on this YouTube channel as well. So you guys can find everything you need at Emo Sawa Productions and the YouTube channel, Emo Sawa YouTube channel. You can check us out here now every single Monday. And then wherever you listen to podcasts, that drops after 9 p.m. So should be fun. Later in the episode, we will talk to Kara from Rodeo Cinema. But we're going to get ready to get into a little bit movie news here. There's a little bit we're getting into, so that's what we're getting into now. All right, guys, there's not a lot to get into, but I did want to bring up these 2 big points. Ezra Miller and The Flash. News broke earlier this week that, HBO Max and Warner Brothers is really, really worried that, what he did and legally what he might go through could affect the box office sales. So let's just push the movie out straight onto HBO Max. So no theatrical release. Bad news. Good news is I'm still seeing my Michael Keaton in the bat suit. So with that, since they lost money on theater sales, they're going to be pushing the Blu-ray out super, super quick. So that's another win-win for me. Anybody have any thoughts on this? Zach, you want to go first?
I mean, to me personally, I think they're cutting their throats because this is a big chance to reset the DCEU, especially if they're going to do Flashpoint or whatever their plan is. I just don't know why they're not going to do like a Kevin Spacey and just hire someone else and reshoot everything that Ezra Miller was in. Which I know it's not. I know it's 90% of the movie, but still,
because
that would give them a chance to put it in the theaters at least.
Yeah, but this movie has been pushed back so many times. What, 2-year project just now finally getting ready to come out? It got pushed back just a few months ago. I think they're just done. They're bleeding. They can't stop the bleeding. So let's hurry up and push this movie out before we just die and nobody sees it. And I feel bad for DC because you bring The Rock in and the Shazam trailer looks amazing, and he's gonna say I really do believe he's gonna
Black Adam.
What I say, Shazam?
Yeah.
They should have put him.
It's connected though, so
they should have put him in a different costume. So like he's gonna save the DC, and Warner Brothers already hinted and kind of teased that Henry Cavill could be on his way back in this week. So all that coming in, I think they just have to push it out. And the good thing about Flash is they can, they can do a Flash
add something
whenever
to get rid of him. Yeah. I mean, no feelings lost for DC because obviously they go after some crazy people, as we've seen.
Yeah.
With the the old AH, but yeah, get it out, get it done. The longer you hold on to it, and the quicker they get it out before he goes to court or he goes to rulings or anything like that, or he actually kills somebody or something like that. You want to get it out before then, because the further he goes down that rabbit hole, the more and more people aren't going to want to watch it.
Yeah, hurry up and do it before he does the whole.
Hopefully he doesn't.
Yeah,
but
because if he sling blades somebody, ain't gonna be pretty.
It's probably already happened, to be honest. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, isn't he on the run? The last I've seen or heard.
Well, didn't he kidnap some girl or something like that?
He was a
Supposedly
family friend. He was a family friend, and he had just taken her, and she trusted him more than her own parents, but it was because he was grooming. Supposedly. It's all hearsay until proven guilty.
Which is true. That's and true. I mean, again, he still hasn't been proven guilty, but it is what it is, I guess. But in good news, Top Gun has reclaimed the number 1 spot at the box office. Number 2 is Jurassic World Dominion. Number 3, I believe, is Elvis. And number 4 is Lightyear. I'm a little shocked that Elvis didn't go number 1, but Top Gun, what happened, guys? Top Gun just had a resurgence and went all the way back to number 1.
I think
now it's a
$1 billion movie.
Second $1 billion movie since the pandemic started.
I think we all at one point were like, we probably if there's a movie, it's going to be Top Gun, but we all kind of had it around that 850,000 or million mark. But the higher it goes, hey, more power to them. It's a damn good movie.
I hope it goes all the way to the Oscars.
I hear a lot of people going ahead and actually saying that, I heard Top Gun was doing good. Well, Jeff and Miranda seen Top Gun, so I want to see it because I don't know, just 2 random names.
But that's the thing, though. It's become such a word of mouth movie that every single people at work say they haven't seen it, and I told them it's good, and they went and saw it, and they loved it, and they're going to tell their friends. And like Craig, you told your in-laws, and they went and saw it,
and they said it was one of the best movies they've seen in a while. So
I didn't tell anybody. They listened to the episode, and they're like,
yes. That's because the only people were the ones talking to you right now.
This is true.
And he told us to go see it.
I'm just glad. I'm glad it was a good movie, and I'm glad it's making the money, and I'm glad that you can we're getting. And I think this is just the first of many $1 billion movies maybe this year. Some other movies that might Thor,
Black Panther.
I think Shazam could do it, or not
Black Panther.
Black
I'm pretty
Adam.
Sure.
And that's the thing, though. No, and that's the thing, because we're about a week from Friday for Thor: Love and Thunder. If that movie's sold out, people are going to say, "What can we go see?" And they're going to go see Top Gun Maverick again, or if they haven't seen it, that's their chance to see it.
Especially for 4th of July weekend, America.
Yeah.
But no, I think there could be $4 billion movies this year. Like, at least you think of Top Gun, Black Panther, Thor, Avatar.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
So,
which is glad. I'm kind of glad things are slowly going back to normal anyway.
In unfortunate news, Jurassic World is almost up to $750 million, so it's not far behind.
It's making the money. It's making the money.
The more people I talk to, the more people are like, "Man, I love it." I'm like, "Hey, more power to you."
Well, I'll talk about it in recent watches. I'll do that there for you. But that's all
I know why it's better for you.
That's all I have for recent watches, or not recent watches, but movie news. Unless anybody else wants to bring anything to the table, kind of other than Ezra Miller and Top Gun hitting $1 billion.
Ezra Miller hit $1 billion.
Yeah, he hit $1 billion. You know what I mean? But yeah, it wasn't too bad. So, but now we're gonna get ready to, I believe, get into some recent watches. So, I do have quite a bit. But Ed, we haven't really heard from you. Do you have any recent watches you want to get off your chest? Any recommendations?
No, not really. I mean, honestly, Kenobi and I don't know. I mean, Kenobi, that's about it.
Zach, what about you? You have anything you want to get off your chest and recommend to anybody?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about Obi-Wan here in a little bit, probably. I went to the movies twice. Saw The Black Phone, which, Craig, I know you were kind of interested in seeing it. I would say don't have high expectations for it. Just my personal opinion. I thought the pacing of it was a little slow, but Ethan Hawke, man, I will say he put in a performance. Watch Spawn, Johnny. I watched X.
I didn't like it. You didn't feel no A24 vibes.
Well, there was a lot of vibes, but it wasn't A24-ish.
Well, we're going to talk about it in just a few weeks, so.
Well, you're going to talk about it. I don't know if I will, but
we will.
Elvis, which obviously, like I said, you can go see at Rodeo Cinema. Very, very good film. I was highly, highly impressed with it. I think Austin Butler, man, I think that dude is about to become a movie star. I'll just say that. And then another film called The Outfit with Mark Rylance. It's kind of like a 50s mob gangster film. Don't expect like Goodfellas or The Godfathers or anything like that. It's more of like a character twisty plot story. But if I had anything to recommend, definitely go see Elvis, and I would say check out The Outfit. I think it's at the Red Box. So
the alphabet.
The alphabet.
Craig, what about you? Do you have anything you want to recommend?
Obi-Wan, Spawn, College Baseball World Series. Tough for the OU guys, but congrats to Ole Miss. And
first
I think that was it. I think I played a lot of video games this weekend. I haven't been playing a lot of games, but
what have you been playing?
I've been playing Apex, some Escape from Tarkov, and I was playing some Fall Guys last night. So that's what I was doing.
Isn't that a Kenny Chesney song?
I'm surprised you know who Kenny Chesney is.
I am slowly getting built into my Denzel habitat for this upcoming Top 5 Plus 5 episode. I checked out Mo Better Blues for the first time. Really good movie, Spike Lee. Checked out Saint Maud for a recent Friday the 14th episode. Crimson Tide with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. The final episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which we're literally about to talk about. Spawn, Morbius, and my recommendation is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring one Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal. Very funny, very entertaining movie. I highly recommend it. Nick Cage gets a lot of bad rap for some reason, but I think he is a big body of massive talent, and this movie definitely proves it. So it's hilarious to me, and I definitely say go check that out, or Kenobi, which is on Disney Plus. And I did check out, and I'm up to date with Ms. Marvel. And Morbius, even though Morbius is slow paced and kind of dull and not very memorable, I would say, Zach, I'm going to use your word, that it's fine. I wouldn't put it up there with, I wouldn't put it up there with Space Jam 2 or Fast 9, but I would say it's, if you're just a Sony Marvel fan, like if you like Venom or some of the off Spider-Man villains, I would say you should watch it, check it out, give it your own opinion.
Okay.
So, and it's only an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes, so it's not like you're wasting your complete day and a half. So yeah. Kenobi, guys, star rating. We do this for a lot of miniseries that we talk about and want to do. So my star rating, I'm gonna just go ahead and shoot it off. I'm gonna give it a 7 for the entire series from episode 1 to episode 6. I think that it picked up a little slow. Episode 1 and 2 were a little, little off and on. Episode 3 really picked up high. Episode 4 was good, and then 5 was like, okay, what's next? And then 6 was good. So I'm gonna give it a 7. Zach?
I'm gonna go a little bit higher. I'm gonna give it an 8. I think You know, we talked about the first 2 episodes and how, I mean, I'll just say the word, they were kind of wasted the first 2 hours of the show, to be honest. But I think the surprises that they had, especially in the last episode, really amped it up. And I think with including Ewan McGregor's performance coming back as this character, I think the stuff that was strong was actually quite strong, and it helped the series and be like, okay, this wasn't a waste of 6 hours of my life. So I'll give it an 8.
Edward?
Man, honestly, I'd agree. Honestly, I don't think the first episodes were a waste necessarily. I think it was just basically showing how he lived now. I mean, I know some people will be like, that's stupid. Just maybe, but, you know. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, building up to what we got, come on now. Like, that thing is, oh. But, yeah, I'd agree in saying 8 as well.
Craig?
I'm very, I don't know. I want to rewatch it again from start to finish, kind of no stopping or, no weeks off, just to kind of get a fluid feel for it. But I want to say 7.5. I get why episode 1 and 2 were so slow, really building that relationship between Leia and Obi-Wan, because of course that's where episode 4 takes off, is her saying, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope." So they had to build that relationship that really put them together to show why she was saying that at the beginning of episode 4. And I think that's what they were kind of going for that. But towards the end, I mean, if this was a movie and you were trying to cram all of this in 2.5 hours, 2 hours or something like that, I get why they didn't make it a movie. But at the same time, I feel like they took the opportunity of it being a TV show and kind of took it for granted. And there was a lot of wasted time in this series. So I'm still going to give it an 8 because 5 and 6 finished very strong. And I did like some of the character development that I thought was going to be wasted initially. Mm-hmm. So that's why I kind of want to go back and rewatch it. But I think it's a solid 8.
Yeah. We got some emails about it. So if you guys have checked it out, go check it out. We're going to give full spoiler talk about it this Thursday on our Attack of the Clones bonus episode. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones turns 20 years old this year.
Crazy.
So we're talking about it this Thursday, June 30th, 7:30 p.m. So
with that, I know I'm not going to be on Attack of the Clones, but I just want to get your guys' quick opinion. Does this need a season 2? I mean, no. I don't think it does.
No.
I would prefer if they did, like, if they were to do one, if they absolutely wanted to go a route of doing this, I would have the Obi-Wan series, and then I would go the other side and do Darth Vader.
Yes.
Show how he became, because obviously we see that he's not as powerful as we thought he was.
Well, I wouldn't even do it before or during this. I would just, pick up from after Kenobi and see what Vader's doing from after Kenobi leading up to Rogue One.
Episode 4.
Rogue One.
Yeah. Kind of like during Rogue One to episode 4.
Because then you could even add Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka and have their little meetings and stuff like that. And I mean, you could do a ton. There's a ton from like the clone cartoon that you could do. There's a ton from just the books you could do.
Yeah, you could add a lot if you were to go into that timeline, because you could pull in from the Bad Batch. You could pull in from Ahsoka because Ahsoka is going to be coming out. You could be pulling in from a lot of different things.
Because I mean, with Ahsoka, with Rosario Dawson, that's promotion for her and that show.
It's already, on top of that, Ahsoka is going to be out before. Like, if there's ever a season 2, you're going to have to be pulling from that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still like,
it's just extra promotion. It's just like, hey, this is still coming.
But I mean, there's all types of different scenarios that you can have, and making her with the canon, to go forward with movies as well,
And who knows, we may even get some of that in the Ahsoka series, because I think it's based off of after episode 6. So we may even get some of that early stuff with Hayden Christensen being Vader and her kind of being back then.
on top of that, with Obi-Wan, you could do the re-meeting of him and Darth Maul, for that matter. And that could tie in with Solo, and that could tie in with, just before episode 4 and all kinds of stuff like that.
And I also think, I mean, I don't know if he's come out and said this, but I think it ultimately also comes down to if Ewan McGregor wants to do another season. Because
they've all said they thoroughly enjoyed making this, and they would love to say,
yeah. I've heard like 4 different websites, or seen 4 different websites have both Ewan and Christian saying, yeah, this was awesome.
All right.
All right, so next up, we got CDR Electronics. CDR Electronics serves the OKC metro area with the best value for electronics. They have video games, computers, TVs, accessories for your video games, phones, laptops, iPads, whatever you need. Go check them out at 1604 West I-240 Service Road in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
And don't forget, let them know that the Cine-Men Movie Podcast sent you. And you know what? Thanks to Mr. Andrew that we talked to a few weeks ago, we might be doing some special code names. You hear a code name here on the episode, give them the code name at checkout, and you could get like 25% off your purchase. So keep an now out for that in the works. And it could save you some money. So
save you some of that cheddar.
But now, Zach, I believe you got some facts that we did not know about Spawn.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is a new segment. I'm going to say top 4 facts you don't want to know about Spawn. I'll just say that.
He took my idea.
There you go. So Tim Burton, you'll like this. Tim Burton was originally the original choice to direct Spawn. Let's see. Wesley Snipes, Cuba Gooding Jr., Snoop Dogg, Denzel Washington, Tony Todd, Samuel L. Jackson, Alan Payne, Ving Rhames, Tupac, LL Cool J, Will Smith were all originally considered for the role of Spawn. John Leguizamo ate live waxworms on pizza for this film. He then vomited immediately after the take was wrapped. And then he also went on to describe that wearing the fat suit is like a penis wearing a condom. And those are your 4 things you didn't want to know about Spawn.
Oh, wow. Those are some really interesting facts. I didn't know that at all. But guys, it's summertime, and it's also time to have some cool drinks in your cooler. This episode is also brought to you by OKC Soda Company. It's the craft soda company of Oklahoma with super unique flavors like strawberry shortcake, blueberry kai, made with pure cane sugar and all natural flavors. You can pick up your 6-pack at Pruitt Foods, Crests, and other Homeland locations here, all in the OKC metro area. And also, don't forget to visit them at OKCSodaCompany.com. Again, you can check them out on the social media, Instagram, Soda Company, OKC Soda Company. They also have a Twitter as well. If you're here locally, I highly suggest checking them out. They have a bunch of events at Scissortail Park. And, it's just a matter of time until you see one of us out there at some of these events. So keep your eyes out, and we'll be getting ready to talk about some OKC Soda real soon. But, guys, like I said, we're just a week away from our first ever live event, sitting in front of the lobby at OKC unique movie art house, Rodeo Cinema. And it's kind of hard, to put our minds around this. You guys, I know it's a holiday and the hours are from 1 to 3 p.m., but I think it's going to be, it's going to be pretty big.
There's going to be an aura around this day because you're going to have everybody excited that it's a holiday. You can have people day drinking. Everybody's just going to be nice and loose, and they're going to come in. They're going to get into some AC and enjoy it.
And even though it's not like, how can I say this? Even though the timing is a little off, like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and even though it's 4th of July holiday weekend, say people are super busy and a lot of people don't show up. Just us being at that venue inside recording a live episode, I think that's just kick ass. So
yeah, definitely.
But
little cherry on top for the 200th episode.
Oh yeah, for sure. But also, guys, if you're wanting some pizza on the 4th of July, they're open, and they're going to be open all day. Red and Blues Pizza, 602. Excuse me. I need some OKC soda. 602-2838. Kurt, you want to take it away from me?
Yeah, Red and Blues Pizza, 602-405-602-2838, 4500 South May Avenue in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They have all kinds of specials. I don't have the list in front of me, but go in, tell them the Cinema Movie Podcast sent you, and I'm sure they'll get you hooked up with one of the better deals that they have. You're not going to go away empty-handed with, you're not going to pay $20 like you will at some other pizza places and walk away with one or two pizzas. You're going to walk away with a whole bunch to feed the entire family. So go check them out. It's good pizza. We've all had it. We all highly endorse it. So, yeah. Sorry, that was without a script. I didn't have anything else. So,
hey,
your mic, Johnny.
You're muted, buddy.
Coughing up a lung.
These episodes are now live, so it's like, man, if you're accidentally swallowing a lung or something just dying, you kind of just gotta go on with the flow.
Go with the flow, bro.
But we're waiting. Kara is going to join us here soon from Rodeo Cinema. She is the chief. So,
the chief of what?
Sorry, I'm still kind of dying.
Medic.
But Ed, where are you at? We're sitting here doing this episode, and everybody's just probably joining us watching. And like Ed's like, forget Rodeo Cinema. I'm going to do a drive-in. We're just going to do a drive-in at the Rodeo Cinema.
Hey, I'm going to start just doing at weird locations, random locations around my place. My place is still real echoey, so this is one of the better areas for me to get a good sound bite. For all you listeners out there, I am in my 84 model square body, just chilling in the garage. So, yeah,
It's his cabin in the woods where he takes people to get murdered, basically.
No, not at all, Zach. But
before she hops on, I do want to say, spoiler alert for War Kenobi. Guys, what did you think of the battle scene? Vader loses the side of his helmet, and a lot of that battle scene was just...
It was visually really well done.
Not just visually, audio was... Because it was fading in and out of the Vader mask. So you would hear Anakin, you would hear Vader, and I think the dialogue that they gave Hayden Christensen for this series was spot on because, we all think, Obi-Wan shows it. He's still kind of thinking everything is his fault that Anakin went this way. And, Anakin's like, you didn't kill him. Like, I did. I'm what remains. And it's just, I think that shows just how evil, like at that moment, how evil and how clouded Anakin's judgment is.
I would say lost more than evil for that matter, because obviously he's pissed. Like he's upset. He's very, very just angry with Obi-Wan, mentor, brother, friend, teacher for that matter, all these things that he never had, male role model, different stuff like that. Obi-Wan's like 12 years older than he is for that matter. So dude looks up to him a lot. And it's kind of like, think of the person you look up to and think of them just literally and I'm not saying Obi-Wan berated him because he tried to go ahead and lead him in a good way. But Anakin was like, nah, man, there's a lot going on here. We all seen the movies, so I don't need to go into that. But with that whole fight, the blades, turning different colors over Anakin's face, the distortion between Hayden Christensen's voice as well as James Earl Jones's voice mashing up and kind of not really even clashing, but kind of harmonizing in a way. just because you could tell the difference, but at the same time, like it was, it was almost like it was the same person. They did beautifully on the audio engineering as well as just the visual representations of the internal battle with Anakin, for that matter. Because at one point when Obi-Wan's like, I'm sorry and all that, you could see like the blue over Vader's exposed face, and then when he's like, no, you didn't do this, you've seen the red come back, and it was just like, oh, okay, kind of the transitioning effects like that. And then when, Obi-Wan gone ahead and was like, all right, boy, my powers are here. I'm here to battle. This is me, and just raised everything. And
but we'll talk about more about Obi-Wan Thursday on the bonus episode this Thursday at 7:30.
I had a lot to say.
We'll save it. But now we're being joined by Kara.
Hello.
Executive Director,
Hello.
Rodeo Cinema. How are you doing today on this fabulous Monday?
Good. Today's my day off, actually, so I'm very off looking.
Well, I hope, thank you for joining us on your day off. Really appreciate it and looking forward to it. I know we've had a few emails about Rodeo Cinema, so I'm going to introduce you to everybody. This is everybody from the podcast. Kara, why don't you let some of the listeners know what you do at Rodeo Cinema?
It might actually be easier to say what I don't do.
There you go.
No, I'm the executive director at Rodeo Cinema Foundation, Oklahoma City's exclusive nonprofit art house, theater and cinema. And what that essentially means is I sometimes feel like an adult babysitter, but we make sure that there are plenty of variety and and exciting programming and indie films. And in addition to that, it's live events focused around films and music and live productions and kind of you name it. The job is very busy. I do a lot of the social media and marketing and create the bumpers and, social media content and everything like that. And also mind the fiduciary responsibilities and write grants and find donors, and I'm currently building the website.
Well, I can definitely tell from, years past to now, everything looks top notch.
Thank you.
Yeah. Even going from, every single Monday we talk about you guys, even the new logo that, popped up, everything is just more polished. And, that's a word that you used with me a few weeks ago. We had a really good conversation, and that word is like just
I can understand, man. It looks good.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But everything looks good, and I know we're definitely finally excited to start rolling the punches out with a lot of our sponsors. We've been talking this series the past few weeks called Pardon the Pandemic, and so we've been reintroducing the sponsors to everybody on the show. And this week, I'm so thankful that we are able to talk to you about Rodeo Cinema. So is there any plans for you to do anything out of state, or maybe more theaters to pop up? How does something like that happen?
So for us, of course, we have 2 locations, which most people are not even aware of. When I came on board, we are sister organizations with Circle Cinema out of Tulsa. Their founder is our founder. And we essentially opened in 2018. And, we were just getting our roots here in the community, and the pandemic hit. And so, a lot of the wind was kind of knocked out of our sails. So trying to get people aware that we are here and that we also have 2 historic locations is a big part of why we sort of re-strategized our mission statement. And the essential, I won't give you the long paragraph version of it, but what it kind of boils down to is purposeful programming and historic preservation. And for us, that means purposeful programming is exposing Oklahomans to theater and films that they otherwise might not be aware of. Repertory cinema, cult classics. We just screened Pink Flamingos the other week, and it really wouldn't be a John Waters film if we didn't have some walkouts. And but, they wouldn't have otherwise known about it. The really cool thing is that our rodeo theater in the historic Stockyards district was originally a 1924 silent film house and a small vaudeville stage. So when we say historic preservation, it's holding on to those cultural, histories, and that, that is part of our history as Oklahomans, and as well as our Film Row screening room, which is, as we know, the last remaining screening room from the Film Row exchange, and getting that message out there. Most people are not even aware of what the Film Row exchange was, and so part of that preservation is continuing that history and passing it on to the next generation, and so on and so forth. And both of those locations are almost on their 100th anniversary. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, 100 years is nothing to kind of,
You can brag about it.
It's a milestone.
Big deal.
Yeah. And just the way that the theater and the building feels. I know me and Zach has been and seen plenty of movies there, and it feels like a movie theater should.
Yeah, and it feels so of the time. You walk in, there's the concessions, here's like a little lobby, and then you go in, there's the theater. And then when you walk into the theater, it just has like an aura of, this has been here for a very long time. And I love how you guys are trying to just keep it going and let people know this is here.
Yeah, and that was a big part of our renovation process. When I stepped into the position, I felt like we were trying to swim away, so to speak, from what we were. The lobby space was, really full of like posters and different cool, art and things like that. And, we had like arcade game and things in there. And I felt like we were taking away from what that building was, which is a 1924 Art Deco building. And that renovation really was leaning into that history, allowing those beautiful copper ceilings to be, showcased. The unusual, way that the building is built. Most people are not even familiar with that. So when you walk in and there is a ramp, it's actually referred to as a rake. And old theaters were built on a rake because they didn't have sound systems and electricity. And essentially it was a way to create sound from the entrance of the building to not go over into the theater. And the way that the theater would fall down from the rake, it would cause a sweet spot, sort of a sweet little echo spot where people could stand and it would just, reverberate throughout the house. So little things like that were really important to talk about. And in addition to that, when you walk in and you see the red tile on the wall and the tile in the initial entry, that at one time was actually the outdoors of the theater, and where the rug sat was a box office. And being able to kind of talk about that history and how you can pull photos from the 1930s and see that tile on the building and know that tile still exists today is just pretty cool.
Yeah.
This kind of, you brought it up to me a few weeks ago, but I didn't send this to you. You also are heavily into podcasting as well.
I am.
Yeah. What kind of, what kind of stuff do you talk about, and what's the name of the show that you it's yours, right?
Yeah, it's not mine. I mean, I'm on it. I'm a part of it for sure. I'm in a podcast called D20 to Curtain, and it's a bunch of theater geeks, and we play D&D.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, we do that, and essentially it's a way to we all love D&D, and when we started kind of talking to other players who weren't in the theater community, we kept hearing a lot of like, man, I wish my group would have more story or more narrative, or play scenes out like that. And so we kind of like, well, maybe we could build a podcast and actually help people do that, because some people, when they play D&D, they just roll the dice and it's sort of playing to win. And we kind of wanted to recreate something where you don't really play to win, you play the role. That's our motto. So
yeah.
So it's like it's basically just kind of like role playing the story that you guys are producing, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Perfect.
we
Awesome.
really, I mean, it's all improv, but we really, initiate acting games into it. Like there's a game called Yes And. So it's kind of I start a story and then I hand it off to you. And instead of trying to go back, you just take it and you run with it. And a lot of times when you play D&D, people have such, that you have the metagamer and stuff like that. And they're like out to, just kill, and it's sort of like being a generous player. Sort of how we, trying to help with that. We're not always generous either.
Sometimes you have to be a little bit different and bloodthirsty or generous, like you say, or anything like that. More wise, if you will, for that matter.
Yeah.
I got a
D&D, but it's a good time.
I got a question, Kara. Since we started our relationship with Rodeo Cinema, there's always just a vast variety of films that you guys show, whether it be new releases, independent, art house. I know you guys show a lot of A24 films. It's okay, Johnny. It's okay. This week you guys are showing Elvis. How is it studios that reach out to you, say, hey, do you want to show Elvis? Do you want to show Nope or whatever? Or is it kind of like I know you guys are going to do a 100th anniversary of no, it's okay. The 100th anniversary of Nosferatu later this year. Just what kind of selection process do you guys have?
So my programmer and I work closely together. He actually was a producer in film for a long time. He produced a lot of Mickey Reese's films. And so he's a cinephile as well as myself. And we have a weekly meeting. And him and I, basically, what used to be our hobby is now our job. And we just, we kind of keep our finger on the pulse of what's coming up. And we pre-screen a lot of them to decide if it's kind of fits for us and our demographic. But beyond that, we also kind of ask ourselves, like, what can we bring in to broaden our demographic? If we're just, doing A24 horror slashers, then, we're not growing. So it's like, it's definitely like a game. It's a game in the sense of you got to offer things to your current patrons, but also offer things to your patrons that you don't even have yet.
So
for us, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's very similar to podcasting.
Yeah.
You
like
set up with an idea and you come out and it's like, okay, what can we do to get, broaden our audience and broaden the ideas that we produce for people to enjoy.
Right. It's a lot of that too. And it's also building trust. Trust is a huge part of it because if they trust what you're selecting and then you present them with something new, then they're more inclined to attend it because they trust you. They believe in what you're programming. And a lot of it for us especially is AMC theaters is always going to present the big blockbusters. And people inherently just feel like, and this is going to sound terrible, but kind of sheep-like, they're like, that's what I've been told to see, so I'm going to go see it. And we're trying to create something different, which is you're not going to be told to see this. They don't have the marketing budget, but you should see this because it essentially is art and it's sacred. And that was something I kind of recently posted about was, big blockbusters, Marvel movies. I love them. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I go to them like everybody else. I watch everything. I saw Top Gun. And I loved it. But those are like circuses and spectacles and fireworks shows, and they're big and they're like, outlandish and exciting. And art house films are like museums or, pieces of art. And sometimes they ignite positive emotions and sometimes they ignite negative emotions, but they ignite something. And it's essentially a way to experience others' perspectives and cultural ideas and social movements. So,
well, and the thing is I love how you describe that, Kara, because we live such in a world of the big film, like you said, the Thor, Love and Thunder, Top Gun Maverick. If you're not one of those, a Marvel, Star Wars, Top Gun Maverick, Jurassic World, you only have a limited amount of time to prove yourself. Like the Black Phone came out this week with Ethan Hawke. It made no money basically. And it's, probably by the time Thor comes out, it'll be out of the theater, know, and that's just, it's crazy that movies are at that level now.
It's gotten to the point where, it's interesting because, Lynch, when he did Inland Empire, and he kind of did it because the first accessible camera to the public, became available. And he was like, now anybody can make a movie. And everybody was like, yeah, I don't know about that. He's like, no, I'll show you. Anybody can make a movie now. And I believe it was Scorsese. I kind of said the same thing when equipment started becoming affordable enough that the tragedy of it is that Hollywood will expand out, but the greatest movie of all time will be made and no one will ever see it. And
wow,
that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
Everybody's able to make films now, and we're so oversaturated with things that streaming services and you start out with Netflix, and then now there's Hulu and Paramount Plus and Disney Plus, and people are getting like fatigued. There's actual like science market research on it where people are like so overwhelmed that they're just falling back on things they've already watched because I believe they refer to it as nostalgia exhaustion. And and I think that's the problem, is that we've become so inundated with films that we're more closed off than ever before of trying something new. And which is unfortunate, because some of the greatest works that are, have ever been made are being made. Drive My Car, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, I heard that was really good.
Yeah.
It's insane, these films that are being made on these micro budgets, and people aren't seeing them. And we see an influx, of course, during Oscar season, when all of a sudden, once again, they're told to go see these films. And I think the biggest message we want to get out is, don't wait till February. They're happening all year long, and we're picking ones that we're weeding out the trash. Like we've that's what we're doing here for you. If anything, we're getting to relaunch our membership program, and part of it is going to be almost a subscription base, where for a set fee, you can come in and see X amount of films and receive a complimentary drink and popcorn. And like for our largest one, it's literally like unlimited. You can come see as many movies as you want, for a flat subscription. And for us, it's like we're trying to get people to realize subscription bases are doing really well for everybody, but it still doesn't replace the theater experience.
Right.
No.
And kind of going back to you're saying that a lot of these films aren't seen. They're made but they're not seen. And I think that's why, going back to a couple of weeks ago when we went to the film festival, we were able to see all of these short films, and we saw Chicken House, and it was just a breath of fresh air that you're getting to see ideas that normally probably wouldn't be accepted by a big time studio, but you're still able to see these ideas that these very good artists and people that know how to put stuff on film, that we're able to see it. Right. And it's a shame that a lot of people aren't getting able to see it. We asked Kate Jones if we were going to be able to get Chicken House on DVD or anything like that. And, she said it's kind of not up to her. She doesn't have the budget, and, it's up to the producing market or her producer. The distributor, sorry.
Yeah, and a lot of these films, what happens is they get snatched up by a distributor, and then they just kind of fall to the wayside. There's no marketing or anything like that. And typically, they go to like, Voodoo or things like that, and they fall into the saturation of content. But something, it's interesting you bring that up, because something that we are working on at Rodeo is we really want to promote our Oklahoma filmmakers. And so we're in the process of working on a new website, in addition to a new ticketing system that will not only make the membership program a little more incentiveful, but as well, it offers the ability to do virtual streaming. And we want to create a virtual streaming for our Oklahoma films. So they're
that would be big time.
Nice, clean place. And we're also going to help them make them into DVDs that we can sell in our concessions.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Nice. Well, and the crazy thing is like how we found out about you guys is that, I've come to the conclusion that like even something like this, or even the art house, the Oklahoma City Museum of Art, they show independent films. They show even not blockbusters, but around Oscar time, they'll show some of the animated shorts and everything. Yeah. The way I found out about you guys is that me and Johnny were wanting to see The Irishman, and it was a Netflix original that, where Oklahoma is going to show in Chicago, Illinois, New York. I typed in The Irishman, and you guys were showing it. It is, it's 3.5 hours long, and we wanted to check it out. And I said, hey, I talked to Johnny and said, hey, this would be a great, if we could get them into our podcast as a sponsor. And that's really how our relationship got going is basically because we wanted to see The Irishman on a screen. So
yeah, I mean, that's like whenever I started in January, I started at the very end of January in this role. And it was like kind of, I really just sat back and kind of watched for a little while and kind of, try to get the lay of the land and see what they were doing and assessing like what's going right, what's going wrong. And, it was right before Oscar season. And I was like, we really should program the worst person in the world. Nobody was doing it. And we sold. I mean, like that was probably the best I'd seen. Because when I started, we'd go days without anybody even showing up. And
did Elvis do good this weekend?
Elvis did great, actually. Yeah, we did pretty good. But our marketing's definitely stepped up as well. We were trying to get ahead of the game and make sure that everybody knows what's happening, what's coming. We're trying to do more fun, interactive kind of things to make you feel more involved. This weekend, for example, we opened up a cafe. And so now we have like sandwiches and charcuterie boards, and all of our sandwiches are always themed, which is kind of fun. So we have like the Kill Bill Volume 2 and Attack of the Killer Tomato and the My Hammy Bites and stuff like that. So this weekend, we're actually going to do a limited edition. We're doing the Elvis, and it's banana, peanut butter, honey, and bacon on a
nice
bread and panini press, and it's really, really good. We've all been buying it, and eating it. So
that's cool because you're taking something that I think Elvis liked, peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
That was his signature sandwich. Yeah. So we're bringing it in for Elvis and stuff like that, and just different things and make it like more fun and more interactive. All the Shell's coming, and we're handing out opening weekend build your own Marcel kits, and make your own little Marcel the Shell, and it's just things that make it a little bit more incentiveful to come out.
Right. Instead of just going to AMC and getting your drinking popcorn and doing the normal, you're able to go in and kind of become one with what the movie is about. I think that's very good and very, that's marketing at its best.
And it's different. I mean, you're not going to go to Regal. You're not going to go to AMC and have like a little Marcel the Shell. That's very creative. That's very what that movie is as an A24 film. And like Craig said, it's brilliant marketing.
Yeah. And that's a lot of it, what we're trying to kind of create. And, the thing is that when you go nowadays, I mean, I'm a market nerd, and market research is my bestie. And, there was market research recently published about how people will drive almost 30 minutes, almost 30 miles out of their way to go to a movie theater with reclining seats. And I'm not mad at them. I'm that person.
That's me.
I'm that girl. So I can't say anything. I like it. And we don't have reclining seats, but we have a 1924 historic theater. And you definitely, when you step in there, feel that like this is nothing like anything else. It's just getting them through the doors. And all of a sudden you're like, maybe I don't always need reclining seats. Sometimes this experience is cool enough. And it's so unique.
Actually, that's one thing I was going to say. The experience is a huge thing for a lot of people. And I mean, for an older person, say in their 60s, 70s or whatever, that might have gone when they were a kid to the theater like that, when it was newer for that matter, bringing their grandkid or their kids for that matter, that would probably be a little nostalgia for them, as well as, just getting to see, a film like Elvis with not brand new, but a new guy coming in doing this. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Austin Butler, from what I hear and what I've seen in some of the interviews, put in the work for the role. But it's just kind of blending 2 generations or even 3 generations into a place that y'all have, and that's just an amazing thing because that can span generations. It already has.
Right, and that's what makes it really cool. And it's a feeling. I don't know how to explain it any other way, but you can definitely, there's an energy in that space where when you sit down, that you're taking part in something that is, historically landmark. And I just think that's the biggest thing is like people, most people who have been there and they like it, they love it, they come back, and it's just like getting them through the door and not feeling so intimidated by it.
Right.
I will say though, our screening room in Paramount, our film row location, it's on our map to give it a facelift as well, and there may or may not be reclining seats.
Well, I mean, I think it's just as a film fan, I think all of us here are film fans. You know, me and Johnny, we went and saw the tragedy of Macbeth earlier this year with Denzel Washington, and I would say having the ability to see that in a theater compared to seeing it in my recliner on Apple TV, it's a vastly different experience. Vastly.
So with the film, are y'all only able to do y'all only have the digital setup, or do y'all still have the old reel setups and different stuff like that? Or
So we actually just recently discovered a reel-to-reel, and we are in the process of seeing if we can get it restored and bringing that back in. 38 millimeter is something on our map, and we had hired in a guy who knows how to run it. So we're really hoping to get that on our agenda. We actually just recently, our sound was upgraded as well. So we actually have a Dolby Atmos system now. So it's definitely different. We got a 4K projector in the works too. So
there you go, Juan.
Yeah.
So I personally haven't been there yet. I've been wanting to go. How big is the screen that you guys have?
I believe it is 10 by 20. It's a sizable screen. I mean, yeah, it's not like tiny.
Yeah, just for the listeners to kind of get an idea of what to expect when they were going in.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a big screen. I mean, for sure. I don't know if that's correct. I really don't know off the top of my head how big it is, but I would say it's comparable to the same screen size as you go into Showbiz or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's the other thing too, is like there's a lot of perspective, and people do this thing, cognitive resonance is a big thing where like you see an old theater and you're like, oh, their stuff's old. And it's like, no, it's not. We have modern day equipment and we're running modern day equipment through the films.
It's definitely, it's definitely upgraded and updated. And I can't wait to see where you guys go from here. I think it's just going to be even better, bigger, better. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, like some of the things that we're trying to do too is that we are now trying to create like seasonal bumpers. So like every time you come in, depending on the month or different months, the bumpers and things like that will be different. We're trying to get local filmmakers to create some of the bumpers as well, just to have some fun, news stories and just letting it be. We can do whatever we want, and that's kind of the best part. We're not stuck in a corporation where they're like, this is your monthly bumper package and you have to use it, and we get to make and do whatever we feel like, which is pretty awesome, within boundaries, of course. But it's neat to actually, for me, it's been really cool to see blending live stuff and cinema has been really neat. I think people are ready for something kind of new. And so like shadow cast experiences where you have live performers acting out the show and singing the music along with the film. I'm excited to bring in stuff like that. In addition to we're having a program called Soundtracks, which is a local DJ, and he's also a composer, and he takes modern music and blends it to silent films. And we're also leaning into bringing in just an organist and our violinist for Nosferatu. We've got Grammy Award-winning Western Flyers. They're a swing group coming in to do Bob Wills silent movies and like all kinds of stuff like that, where it's just really kind of blending interactive and live and film together. There's a real weird kind of niche like community, like the film community is film community and theater community is theater community, and they don't really mesh much here in Oklahoma City. And part of my vision moving into this position was showing all of them that they should definitely be working together, because none of them really work without the other, they're all kind of entwined. So
essentially it's the same kind of thing, just in different
mediums,
times, or even medias for that matter. Yeah, exactly.
So So you said you're a huge movie buff. What were some of the movies that were huge influences on you that made you the movie buff that you kind of are today?
Ooh, this is like always the hardest question. It's funny because I always get asked this now, and they're like, "What's your favorite movies?" I'm like, it's so hard. Man, Gone with the Wind. I know it's cliche, but it definitely was like the first movie. I think I was 6, and I was like fascinated. I don't know if it was also just the fact that it was filmed in Technicolor and like the way it looked like a painting, like really fascinated me, or I just really liked the fact that Scarlett O'Hara was like a badass. But I really loved that movie. So that's always going to be on my agenda. But Beetlejuice was huge for me. Like it was one of those kind of movies that as a kid, like my siblings and I still use it to like speak to each other. Like we speak in Beetlejuice with one another, and we always know, and we would play like that game. My brother would be Beetlejuice, and we'd like turn on the lights and say it 3 times. And it was just like stuff like that is always big for me. I've got a lot of favorite movies. It's really hard to pin them all down. And it always kind of changes too. Like movies and music really depend on my mood.
Yep.
I'll go through like genres and it's like I'm in that mode, It's like I'm hitting up Burton flicks and that's all I'm doing. Or I'm going real weird and I'm watching Titanium Raw and it just kind of depends on what I'm feeling. So it changes a lot.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But speaking of doing new things and testing the waters, and maybe you can even join us live next week. Next week for us is kind of a huge deal. Even you just opening the door for us and sitting down in the lobby, and talking a movie. Maybe you could have your GOAT list or your top 5 movies next week.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. I don't know.
You have a week, so.
It's just what we do every week.
In that mode, I mean, it's just I have a lot of. I mean, gosh, doesn't that feel like somebody's like? It's like it feels like Sophie's Choice for some reason to me, where it's like pick your baby, and I'm like, I don't want to pick my baby.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we do this literally every week.
You can't leave one. You can't leave one off the list or one in the list.
My number one always goes back between Jurassic Park and Creed. Every single you ask me what my favorite movie is, it's either going to be one of those two. So yeah, I get it. It can be difficult.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I just like movies a lot, and there's some that are.
Is there one that's really? I mean, it seems like Gone with the Wind and Beetlejuice, but has there been one that when you watch it, you're like, okay, so this is why I love film, like just without a doubt.
The truth of it is, I feel like that with a lot of films. I can almost find appreciation in anything. Like my friends and I used to do bad movie nights, and we'd watch absolute trash. I mean, I'm talking like Andy Sedaris stuff, and yet I sort of love it because it's hilarious. I mean, I don't know how many times you can like rock out your remote helicopter, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen Sedaris films, but they're a vibe, and so I don't know. It's like tough because I think I just really appreciate movies and all that it entails. I'm a huge horror fan, of course. I love Midsommar, and it's one that I go back to often. I like movies that kind of haunt me after I watch them, and I'm a little pissed off for days, and then I'm like, and then it kind of marinates, and I'm like, I get it.
I had that experience with X this weekend. Juan recommended it. I was like, okay, it's A24, and I felt very uncomfortable during that movie.
I had a thing, it's funny about X because I liked it, like really liked the first like 15 minutes, and then I started having some like sometimes I go into my own head too much and start having sort of like existential things where I was like, I don't know, is this a little racist? Is he trying to say you're the black man? Like, I don't know if I like that. Like, am I overthinking it? Am I getting too on a political agenda? Like, I do that a lot, but I really like. I mean, Romeo and Juliet. Honestly, that was a big one for me as well. That's definitely on my top 5. I remember literally putting on my Christmas wish list neon crosses, and I did not get one, of course. But for me, like girl, I was like, first off, it was Leonardo DiCaprio and Romeo and Juliet, and the costuming was phenomenal. The soundtrack was dope, and
dialogue.
Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann, yep. And so that was, huge for me. Really love that. The Thing's on my top 5.
There you go.
It scared the shit out of me, mainly because you never really see the thing. You see the thing, but you never see the thing,
Yeah.
And
the awesome practical effects in that are still to this day phenomenal.
They're still phenomenal. And we may or may not, we are. We're going to be doing a screening of The Thing and having an 80s horror costume contest with it. So
there you go.
I'm excited about that. But yeah, it's fun to just pull the things that I really like to watch. And I try not to just program strictly what I like. I'm always like, no, is this just what you want to watch? Does everybody want to watch this? But yeah, I can't narrow it down to 5.
Well, maybe we can talk about it next week, but let everybody know. I know it's a holiday, it's 4th of July, but for the people that do show up, what can they expect from a lobby show with us right in the middle of a lobby show?
Lobby shows are so fun because there's really no rules, and we, you don't have to be quiet. We're not going to kick you out if you talk. It's really just a collective group of people watching films and able to talk about them in real time. And that's what makes lobby shows really fun. We try to put on lobby shows. We kind of do like a Blockbusters pick type of thing where our own staff and Oklahoma Film Society sometimes will come in and select films that they really like. And it's just an open discussion. We have Brad Chad, who is our guest relations and box office manager. He does Brad Chad's Cartoon Clubhouse, and he just explores all the different genres of cartoons, propaganda cartoons, things like that. I think he did Snow White. It's just really, it kind of is a group of cinephiles, and not even just cinephiles. We novices are welcome as well. Just anybody can come in and talk about it, and
pretty much if you want to watch a movie, just
show up. Yeah, it's just fun to kind of hang out. It's like watching it in your friend's living room, except for it's in our hobby.
Yeah.
So, do I have to bring Independence Day, or do you think you guys? How does that work?
We might actually have it, but yeah, you can bring it if you want it, or streaming. We have all the capabilities, so there's usually some way to get it.
Awesome. Well, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do an episode right smack dab in the middle of the historic rodeo cinema. A lot of new stuff is coming up with you guys. Nosferatu, you said in September.
We're shooting for an entire vampire weekend, actually.
Yeah.
Which is also the 40th anniversary of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and we're bringing in some cool acts to kind of go along with it. And that's I'm also a vampire fanatic, so Rocky Horror Picture Show is also on my top 5. I only have a few tattoos, but vampire tattoos is one of them.
which crazy enough falls on our 4-year anniversary weekend, but we'll have to work some more stuff out together.
Yeah. It's funny because I only have 3 tattoos, and they're all movie tattoos. So I have Disney. Cool. I have the Disney people on my wrist. I have a Rocky Horror lips on my back, and then I have Bram Stoker's Dracula on my other back. So it's kind of funny because I just realized that. I don't know why.
Hey, that's cool.
So
I'm scared of needles, so not tattoos over here.
I actually went to the tattoo convention a few weeks ago, and it was honestly eye-opening and interesting. And I think I'm going to get a few pieces done here in the next few weeks or months. So I'm definitely interested in that.
All right.
So with your tattoos, obviously there are movies that you enjoy. So you're not just somebody who's going to go out and just get a tattoo to get it. It has to actually mean something to you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I really am picky about tattoos. It took me a long time before I decided on them. And then I'm a Disney nerd, and I came from that old school Disney era where it slapped, and Robin Hood is always going to be one of the best. And but yeah, I think my next tattoo is I'm clearly I'm just a nerd, but my siblings and I don't know if you guys ever played Final Fantasy, but the old 8-bit where you select your player and they'd raise their arm.
Yeah.
So we're all going to get the characters, and then we each one. I'm the Black Mage, and so yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Real good. So hopefully you can sit down and join us again next week on some of the stuff that we'll go through. We're talking about Spawn today. You said that you know Spawn very, very well.
I do know Spawn very well.
So we're gonna hold our ratings for the end of the show, but right now, to let some of the listeners know, out of 1 through 10, what would you rate Spawn?
I'm gonna give it an 8. I give it an 8. I would say that it was iconic because everybody says that Spider-Man kicked off the superhero movies, but Spawn was before it. And but also Spawn was, I think, we had talked about, to me, the reason Spawn's so iconic is there was an era when movies were coming out, you were just as excited about the movie as you were the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And Spawn to me was that.
Mhm.
It was a really great soundtrack. It had Stabbing Westward on them. I don't even know if they're doing anything anymore. Tricky, which most people don't probably know him either, but he actually was a bit part in the Fifth Element.
Yep.
Okay.
The guy was like, "I'm Corbin Dallas." That's Tricky. He also did Fifth Element's also on my list.
The more you go, the more movies start to pop up as you start thinking about them.
Somebody go. The Crow also, by the way.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And he also did the music for The Crow. So, yeah, like that was just a really good album. And it's funny because we were just talking about, I'm getting off subject, talking about films, but Lost Highway is a great Lynch movie. But one of the best things about it is that it had the most amazing soundtrack, and Smashing Pumpkins, which was like, I was going to marry Billy Corgan. And but that, that was like that era when the album was just as good as the film.
Lost Highway is actually on my list that I need to watch. It's one of those movies that everybody recommends to me. I'm a huge David Lynch fan. I'm like, how have you not seen Lost Highway? And I'm like, you know what? I went out, I bought it. I'm watching it soon. So
it's scary to screen at the old rodeo. I'm a huge Lynch fan as well. So like bringing in Inland Empire was kind of exciting because I personally have never seen it on the big screen. So when it became available to see, I was all about it. I love Blue Velvet, but I think everybody kind of falls to that one. Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe Mulholland Park. I don't know. Mulholland Drive. Sorry. I'm not sure.
The Elephant Man's another one that I've heard is really good.
Yeah.
Real
yeah.
Good.
Lynch is that kind of, I think he's kind of crossed into mainstream a bit, There's a little bit of people finally have awareness of what he's doing. And I think we just finally have a generation who is large enough that they get it, So, yeah.
But before we let you go, I know you said it was a day off, and I want to say again, thank you for spending your part of your evening with us. Radio Cinema keeps growing, and I think you are doing a great job, and I can't wait to see where the theater goes. I can't wait to see what you do for Radio Cinema in the future. And,
can I plug one last thing?
Yeah.
So we're opening. What's opening this Friday? So we'll have Elvis, of course, but this Friday opening is official competition with Antonio Banderas, Penelope Cruz, and it's a Spanish film, but it's fantastic and funny. And that's opening at Rodeo Theater. And then opening at our Film Row Cinema is Saul Williams' Neptune Frost. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Saul Williams, but he's a brilliant poet. He did Slam, and we're opening it up on July 1st. And we're actually having a spoken word poet named Mac Woods, who's pretty prominent in the community, coming in and doing an intro with some spoken word poetry. And pretty excited about that. It's really awesome. It's a sci-fi Afro musical. I don't even know if that's real, but I love that is what it is. It's cool.
And let some of the listeners know, like, where can they get those tickets? Can they just come in the door and get them at the door?
Tickets can be purchased at the door, and they can be purchased at advance at www.radiocinema.com. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And things like that. It's just really, really exciting to get to actually experience a spoken word poet before you watch this film. And it is a musical, and but it's also really good music. It was produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda. His name never rolls off my tongue, but yeah.
And that's going to be this Friday, right? Or this weekend? Yeah.
This weekend, opening this weekend. So that's pretty cool. we got some good stuff definitely programmed in the works. Posers coming, Sharp Stick, Marcel the Shell. We got a lot of cool films coming up. I'm really excited about. Films. It's like coming back.
Really excited. And the Marcel the Shell. Do they have to purchase a ticket to make the shell? Right.
Yeah, it's opening weekend only, and you have to purchase a ticket to get your kit.
I think we're gonna have to go get some tickets, guys, and we can have an arts and crafts and see who's got the better show. I saw that trailer and I'm just like,
it looks really good.
I have to see on the big screen.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's one of those that there's few movies that just appeal to adults and kids,
Yep.
And we really don't do a lot of kids movies, and so I was like, that's a great one to really kind of kick it off, and so yeah, we're excited about having that one.
Well, I saw some early reviews, and it said that you'll have more laughs than tears, so I'm kind of happy about that.
Yeah.
So how much sooner do you get to see movies than everybody else, since you kind of have the
command?
I mean, it kind of depends. It just depends on how soon they're trying to push it. You can always kind of tell. Like, there's ones that they're like, yeah, you don't need to see it early. Everybody knows it's going to be great. And then there's other ones that they're like, watch it and like it and talk about it. It just kind of depends. Sometimes, usually 30 days around there, but it's not the same. You get to watch it on a screener with a big watermark on it, and it's definitely not like, woo, so great. It's just to kind of get the feel and the gist. And I usually throw them on while I'm doing other work, just so I can kind of feel it out. Because there's a lot of movies, you can't. I got I won't say a fight, but a debate with somebody the other day, and they're like, you can just tell everything by the movie, by the trailer. And I was like, how dare you? No, I have seen trailers that I was like, that's gonna suck, and then I show up and I was like, wow, that really didn't suck at all. And I've seen trailers that were like, that's gonna be the most amazing film of all time, and then I watch it and I'm like, ooh,
that was terrible.
Honestly, if you can tell everything by the trailer, then it's obviously not a good marketing team nor a very good movie.
That's a question I was going to ask. Do you feel like some movies are starting to put too much into their trailers?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. It was so funny because I hate how every genre or every decade or whatever, they have a specific sound they like to do, and A24 is especially they're just doing that
yeah.
It's scary. I can't even tell.
It feels like every movie's Midsummer or or something like that.
Yeah, I'm like, what's happening? I know. I kid you not. The other day, I was watching a trailer and I was like, why is that the go-to sound? It doesn't even fit this film's synopsis in the least. And yeah, I wish they'd quit that. But A24, they have learned that the secret sauce is marketing, and they're most people don't know this, but films have what's called social toolkits that come with them. And so essentially it's a way for theaters to help promote it. And sometimes you will book a film and they're like, here's my toolkit. And you're like, cool. So I got to do the footwork. And then there's A24 that's like, here's my social toolkit. And it's just a suitcase. And you're like, oh, okay. I'll never use all of that, but cool.
If Juan gets to open up the suitcase of an A24 movie, he can die a happy man.
A24 is life for me right now, and whether it's After Yang or I'm Just X, whatever they put out, I'm at least going to buy and watch. I may not. It's more hits than misses for me at this point.
What is your favorite that they've done recently?
I really did like X. Also Saint Maud. I just got done talking about Saint Maud.
Yeah.
I like the stuff that they produce that makes me think days after I watch the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what they do a lot, which X was definitely that way for me. I didn't hate X. I just didn't I thought I was going to love it. I thought it was going to be a new fetish, but
A Ghost Story is one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then something that doesn't hardly get talked about, and I wished I saw on the big screen, was The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Oh yeah,
really good.
Start out horror, and now they're expanding. It was so niche genre, and now you're seeing them. Like Marcel was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
But one to definitely put on your radar if you're an A24 fan is Neon. Neon's really coming up, and they've got some good stuff in the works. You know, Damon Moria and The Crimes of the Future was Neon. They did one called Pleasure. We held off on it, which I still like. Every now and again, I will decide not to screen a film because I'm nervous, and I then kick myself for not doing it. But Pleasure was. If they just gave me a different poster, man, it was just. I mean, it looked like porn, but it's about but it's like a gritty, really interesting view of the porn industry, and it is a brilliant movie. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see an Oscar nod for it. It really is brilliant,
Nice.
But it's scary when you're in Oklahoma and you're trying to get, you're feeding and you're footing and you're in the stockyards and you got a girl with her legs kind of open and you're like, hey,
come see the movie.
Yeah.
Men is on my watch list. I didn't get to check that in theaters, but that's on my watch list. So, yeah, there hasn't been hardly any misses for me. But.
And you're right. I mean, the variety of A24 is so incredible. I mean, it's horror. They can do something like First Cow, and then they can come out with Uncut Gems. It's just they're on a roll, and I'm with Juan. I mean, pretty much anything that they are going to release, I'm interested in, just to see what kind of stuff they're going to do next.
I don't know how we could, like I said, we talked about this I think a few weeks ago. I don't know how we can put it together, but in September or in August we're doing like a whole A24 month. Maybe some more A24 lobby shows could pop up.
It's funny because as soon as you say that, because we also have our Vampire Weekend, which is Let the Right One In. That was like their kickoff too. Like that was like what put them on the map was that film. So and that's a wickedly underrated vampire movie.
Yeah. So I think it would be fun to work out some A24 stuff in this summer, or I think it'd just be pretty fun. So,
have you guys seen the trailer for The Invitation?
I just saw that today. Actually, that looks creepy. It looks different.
Super excited.
It's a vampire. It's a vampire movie, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a big vampire. Like Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's on my top 5 as well. I think I went way over 5, by the way. I told you I couldn't do 5. But vampire flicks, I'm a huge vampire flicks person. Yeah. So I'm either like, please be good, or Interview with the Vampire.
Maybe we haven't talked about Bram Stoker's Dracula, but maybe whenever you guys play that, we can review that as well.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
We'll dedicate a whole episode to it.
Gary Oldman is my celeb crush. So
Juan's too.
Yeah.
Chameleon, like he's
he's very adaptable to the film that he's in.
Oh, he's so good. I mean, one moment he can be so sleazy and creepy, and the next one he can be so sexy, and it's just he's brilliant. Him and Daniel Day-Lewis, that's two very, very amazing chameleon-like actors.
They don't get enough nod.
True. I don't know. I think Daniel Day-Lewis gets plenty of nods.
Yeah, he gets plenty of nods. Yeah.
He's like, "This is my last film, everybody. Goodbye."
And he'll be back in 10 years. You watch.
Yeah. Exactly.
But Kira, if there's anything else you want to add to this weekend, I think that might be it. I know for sure we'll have you on next week when we're there in person.
Yeah, that sounds great. I actually won't be there on Monday though. That's okay. I'm heading out for a little holiday. I haven't actually had a day off since I started January 26th. So I am feeling it. And I say I was off today, but that just meant I'm working from home. But,
we'll be there Sunday. We'll get to see you Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, we'll see you Sunday. Like I said, if you guys need any more rodeo cinema stuff here locally, 2221 Exchange Avenue right here in Oklahoma City in the historic stockyards. Caddy corner kind of from Cattleman's Steakhouse. We'll be there live next Monday. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So Kira, from everybody here, I want to say thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening off.
Thanks, guys. How do I actually leave now?
You should just
you can't leave.
It's an A24 film.
Yeah. You should just click the top X.
if your screen's maximized, minimize it, and then there should be a X at the
Leave
bottom.
studio or
Leave
something.
studio.
Yeah.
Leave studio.
I see it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Awesome. Another fun interview, guys, from Kira from Rodeo Cinema.
You know, and getting to talk to her and seeing how, not just business side, but her knowledge of film and her love of it, you can see that it's all over. Yeah. And so somebody like that who has their hands on everything at a historic film venue, it's got to be heading in the right direction. And everything that she said, I 100% believe that it's going in the right direction. I think the subscriptions to get people to get in the door secures them not only funds for revenue to be able to keep putting on stuff, but when people have a subscription, they're going to use it.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep them to coming back, and they're going to keep seeing stuff, and the word of mouth is going to grow. I think if they're able to get that subscription for the Oklahoma filmmakers, I think that's going to be huge. We're going to be able to get to see more of people like Kate Jones and some of those shorts that we were able to see that we can't talk to people about because, I told somebody about Oh Dear, and, all I could do was tell them because there's no way to see it on YouTube or anywhere like that. And I think being able to have a subscription based where you can stream stuff like that would be absolutely huge for film in Oklahoma.
And I love her enthusiasm. I mean, she just felt like she was just ready to go and she clearly has a vision of what this company wants to be, and she has plans for it, and I love that.
But now, guys, it is finally to dig in to our beloved favorite segment. This is the top 5. This is the top 5, guys. Before we dig in to the top 5, we are talking our top 5 movies from 1997. Before we talk about any top 5 movies, does anybody have any honorable mentions?
Yes.
Zach,
I got
any
one.
honorable mentions?
I got one.
Okay, I'm going to rapid fire through mine right quick. G.I. Jane, Men in Black, Guilty Pleasure, Batman and Robin, and my official honorable mention, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Zach, go ahead and what do you got?
I got Amistad, Jackie Brown, Flubber, Selena, and my official honorable mention, Liar Liar.
Flubber! Robin Williams, classic.
Yeah.
Ed, honorable mentions?
Flubber, the same with G.I. Jane, Fifth Element, and then also with Face Off for that matter.
The only way I knew about Face Off was Johnny was telling me about Nick Cage doing that whole dance and the. My honorable mention is Fifth Element. That's my one.
And now number 5. I'll start us off. Number 5 for me, Edward. You mentioned it. Face Off.
Yeah.
Nick Cage at his best, directed by John Woo, John Travolta. The chemistry that these two have, and the amount of joy that the dialogue is between these guys is phenomenal. And it's funny, it's gruesome, it's grotesque, it's action out the ass. It's a fun movie. And I got to say, it was going on this list. I would almost say, just like last week, these movies I have in my top 5, to me personally, are 9s and above. So number 5 for me is going to be Face Off. Ed, what about you? What do you got at number 5?
I'll get to mine in just a second. I just seen a Face Off interview earlier with Travolta, and basically he was saying that it was easier for him to find Nick Cage compared to Nick Cage to find him. So he had to give Nick Cage 3 or 4 movies to find what he should be looking for. Anyways, I'm probably going to get a lot of stuff for this. People are probably going to hate me.
You get stuff every week, so.
I mean, it is what it is. That's my moniker, I guess. Number 5 for me, Private Parts.
Of course.
It's dude. Okay, so I mean, the subject matter. Okay, I get the subject matter is questionable. Very true, but I do love the biography of it, basically, if you will, kind of the way the film is, for that matter. Not necessarily just the subject, but the way the film is. Is kind of what allures me to it, for that matter. And I mean, as a kid, I shouldn't have been watching it at all, but yeah,
it's probably.
I mean,
you probably have been watching as a kid, Ed.
Private Parts number 5 for you, Ed. Craig, what do you have at number 5?
Number 5 for me is going to be the Disney Channel. No, I'm just kidding. I completely forgot about Disney Channel original movies, which the only one in '97 was Under Wraps. I don't know. But my number 5 is Men in Black. Will Smith. Just one of the movies that really, really stuck out when I was growing up. I would have been 5 at the time when this was coming out, and so just one of the movies that really stuck out to me, and I really was able to enjoy as a kid. So,
Zach, number 5 for you.
Number 5 is going to be Good Will Hunting. You can watch it on HBO Max right now, starring Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Robin Williams, Stellan Skarsgård, Casey Affleck. I mean, truly, this is one of those films that, if you don't really appreciate the story, you can appreciate the acting. I mean, Damon and Affleck won for best screenplay, and Robin Williams won for best supporting actor. And that scene where they're just on the park bench, and Robin Williams' character is just telling him, like, you don't know anything about life, and you just clearly have no idea what you're doing. It's such a phenomenal scene, really well acted. I highly recommend it, and just for the acting alone, it's just worth the watch. So, Good Will Hunting is number 5 for me.
Number 4. 4. Number 4 for me. I can't put this movie over enough. Chasing Amy, directed and written by Kevin Smith, starring Ben Affleck, Joey, Lauren Adams. This movie to me is Kevin Smith's masterpiece. The dialogue written, the placement of Jay and Silent Bob, and then just the all-time story, the love story of a guy falling in love with a girl. And, through it, the name of the movie, Chasing Amy, and the hour and 53 just fly by. And, I think it's a shame that Joey Lauren Adams didn't win an Oscar for this movie. And I can name off 2 or 3 scenes that she is just bawling her eyes out and explaining to Ben Affleck why or when they should be allowed together and why she should not be, in that relationship with Ben Affleck. And if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. To me, it's Kevin Smith's masterpiece. It's the best movie he's ever done. And, the dude can write some dialogue. So if you don't believe that, go check it out. Chasing Amy is my number 4. Ed, what do you have at number 4?
Number 4, probably going to get a lot of eyebrows raised. Shown this when I was a kid. Well, I'm sorry, I wasn't shown this. I snuck into my dad's collection and watched this while he was gone one day. Boogie Nights.
Johnny showed me that. He locked me in a room and no.
Man, to me, it kind of is apple pie or American Pie-esque for that matter. Just not saying 100% exact kind of thing, but it's just hilarity from start to finish in my eyes. And yeah, it's a crazy movie. If you've never seen it, personally, I'd recommend it. But there's
you
a lot
love
of people
that ending scene, don't you?
See, I don't even know the ending scene.
And you love that ending scene, don't you?
There's a lot of things about that movie I loved. Okay, look, man.
But you really loved the ending scene.
Doesn't that movie have Mark Wahlberg and
Ed?
What's your number 4?
That's what I thought.
Uh-huh.
Who's next?
No, go ahead, Craig. You're next.
My number 4 is going to be Good Will Hunting. Fantastic cast. Like you said, Zach, the cast kind of, even if the dialogue and everything isn't for you, or the story itself isn't for you, the cast is excellent, and they deliver. So that's my number 4.
Zach, number 4 for you.
Number 4, I'm gonna get some flack. I have a tie because it's essentially the same damn movie. Volcano and Dante's Peak literally came out 2 months apart from each other. They're both disaster films, one with Tommy Lee Jones and the other one with Pierce Brosnan. And both dealing with volcanoes. So I don't know really what else you could say about it. I know, Ed, I think you enjoy Dante's Peak a little bit more than Volcano, but I mean, it's essentially the same. It's like White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen. It's the same freaking movie.
It's like the Marvel and DC of disaster films,
basically.
Okay, who's gonna make it better?
Yeah.
All right.
3.
Number 3 for me. When you got to kill every mother in the room,
you need Anakin.
No substitutes. Jackie Brown from 1997. Quentin Tarantino's underrated, amazing film about drugs, a flight attendant, and an arms dealer.
You think that's his underrated film?
I think it is underrated. A lot of people don't talk about Jackie Brown, but when you have the stellar cast of Pam Grier, Sam Jackson, Michael Keaton, Robert De Niro, like this movie was badass, and you can go check it out on HBO Max. We did a whole Quentin Tarantino month a few years ago. I don't think this is a movie we did not touch on. No. I think another Quentin Tarantino month could be pulled out of the hat. And, Jackie Brown is it's a fun movie. And again, perfect dialogue, cinematography, and it's Quentin Tarantino at his best. So number 3 for me is Jackie Brown. Ed, number 3 for you?
Number 3 for me, Craig, I didn't forget about them. Actually, Under Wraps. I'm just gonna take all day long. It doesn't matter.
I mean, the nostalgia for Disney movies is completely underrated. I mean, just because it's a movie that was put out by Disney on public television doesn't make it any less successful or better than other films. It's completely based on your view of it.
It's more just like that was one of my first 3 basically that I ever really got in touch with and really just loved. So crazy parts, but very cheesy, very
cheesy.
Yeah. Very child movie. I mean, very Disney,
Yeah, I mean, it takes something that you would think would be extremely scary and it puts it on television. And as a kid, you're not scared of the mummy. You're actually drawn to it.
Yeah, you're kind of wanting to be his friend there for a minute and all that stuff. You want him to get the girl. So yeah, if you can find it, I mean, honestly, it's worth a show to your kids. But yeah, Under Wraps is a sentimental thing. So Under Wraps, my number 3.
All right. My number 3 is a war drama film called Life is Beautiful. A gentle Jewish Italian waiter, Guido Orifice, Orifice, I don't know, meets Dora, a pretty school teacher, and wins her over with his charm and humor. Eventually, they marry and have a son, Giosu. I probably butchered that, but their happiness is abruptly halted, however, when Guido and Giosu are separated from Dora and taken to a concentration camp. It is a movie that my parents found because my dad is very much a war / Western kind of guy, and so this is a movie that we stumbled upon. We had a VHS of it and we watched it a lot, and I didn't even think about it until we were looking through some of these 1997 films and I saw it. It's rated 8.6 on IMDb and 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. 93% of Google users like it.
Won a couple of Oscars for foreign language film and best actor.
Yeah.
That's cool.
From what I can remember, it's a very good film. It has some lines that immediately come to my head. that I just remember saying as a kid to my brothers and sister. So if you can find it, I'm not sure where it's streaming. It looks like it's on Prime Video.
It's on Paramount Plus.
And Paramount Plus. So I might go back and rewatch it. But from what I can remember from this film, I know it was very, very good, entertaining, and historical. So I would highly recommend this movie if you can go back and watch it and find it.
Nice.
So that's my number 3.
Zach?
My number 3, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because, like all these films, it turns 25 years old, and we're talking about it in December. Titanic. I mean, there's going to be a lot to talk about, but I'll save it for then.
Number 2. Number 2 for me is going to be a Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino classic, The Devil's Advocate. When you can talk about the demon seed of the devil living on Earth, and he corrupts one of the biggest high-end New York City attorneys that's living in the city, and turns him quickly into a advocate. And Al Pacino is then the advocate for what you perceive to be the up and coming devil, but that's not what the film's about, and it turns into a quick 360 on you. I highly recommend it. It is a little lengthy. It's a little girth. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes, but you got Charlize Theron, and some other great actors in there. Craig T. Nelson's in there, but I highly recommend it. It's on Tubi if you guys want to watch it for free. It's a movie that's just so diverse, and I feel like it's got high ratings all across the board, but I feel like somebody's going to either love it or just hate it. And I think it could be a great conversation one day, especially with it turning 25 this year. So number 2 for me is The Devil's Advocate. Ed, number 2 for you?
Number 2 for me, going back to the start of this trilogy, this man was too bad for everybody, man. He had the mojo, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Mike Myers at his best, I think, personally. He's just, in this one, just hilarious. It's ridiculous on some of the stuff that they come up with, little gags and the little, things that kind of trickle over into the other movies for that matter. But yeah, man, I'd love to see another reprisal, but it doesn't need to happen. It's all good either way. So yeah, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Yeah.
Craig, number 2 for you?
My number 2 is going to be Jim Carrey's Liar Liar. We did an episode on it, over a year ago now, it seems. Jim Carrey was a staple in the 90s, the late 90s at that. And it's just an overall good film. So that's my number 2.
Zach, number 2 for you?
Number 2 is probably going to get put on the crap list, but it was just one of those childhood favorites of mine. Mouse Hunt with Nathan Lane and Lee Evans. Christopher Walken's in it. 2 Stubblebum inheritors are determined to rid their antique house of a mouse who is equally determined to stay where he is. It's very slapstick humory with kind of like Three Stooges or even Charlie Chaplin a little bit. But it just, to me, it's just one of those personal childhood favorites. So number 2 is Mouse Hunt.
1.
Number 1 for me, Titanic. We'll talk about it in December. 25 years old. It's one of the first movies that I watched and just enjoyed it being what it was as a 7-year-old. So we'll dig into it in a few months. Number 1, Titanic. Ed, number 1 for you?
Man, the music, the movie, the actor, I can't say more about this film. Literally, the dude is and has been one of my favorites of all time, actor wise, as well as this movie is one of my favorite, best, top favorites of all time as well. The music, spot on. Men in Black, bro. Like it is simple as that. Men in Black. I'm not calling Ghostbusters. I'm calling Men in Black. So yeah.
Ed, are you going to go see it in the theater this Sunday at Warren?
I don't know about
for its 25th
we'll
anniversary.
I mean, it depends on what time we're doing other business. You know, we'll see.
Craig, number one for you.
As much shit as I give Titanic, it is a damn good film.
That's why he's going. No,
it's a master. It is a masterpiece through and through. I just give Johnny shit all the time for it. The music, the acting, the actors, Leonardo DiCaprio, for as young as he was in this film, absolutely nails it. And it's a film that throughout the remainder of time is going to be known as long as we have a reminder of history. This film is going to be amongst the top 10 of all time. So that's my number one from 1997.
Zach, finish us off.
Number one, I won't spend too much time on because we just wrapped up our bonus series. Number one is The Lost World Jurassic Park. Like I said in our episode, it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be. I think it's a fine sequel, especially compared to what we got done with Dominion. It's a way better sequel than Dominion. It's just, I think it's a fun B action movie, and that's really all you need if you're going to do a sequel to the classic Jurassic Park. So
I thought it was dinosaurs.
Well.
You said it was a B movie.
It is. Well, I mean, like, compared to the original, it's a B movie.
No, a bee, like a bumblebee.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Bumblebee.
At least it doesn't have locusts in it. So.
Yeah.
a bee.
So yeah, guys, email us your top 5 movies of 1997. I didn't mention it last week, but I am mentioning it this week. Next week, Edward, you brought up big old Will Smith. We are talking our top 5 Will Smith movies next week for our 200th episode live from Rodeo Cinema. We talk Independence Day on Independence Day. So go ahead and check it out. Send us in your top 5 Will Smith movies along with your top 5 movies from 1997. Speaking of 1997, today we are talking about Spawn. IMDb currently gives it a 5.2, while at Rotten Tomatoes is at 17%. The Metascore is at 34%, while the Google users have it at 78%. With a budget of $40 million, it grossed a little over $88 million at the box office, turning 25 years old around August 1st, 1997 was its birthday. An elite mercenary is killed but comes back from hell as the soldier of the devil, hence Spawn. There's echo in the background. Starring Michael J. White, John Leguizamo, Martin Sheen, Teresa Randall, D.B. Sweeney, and Zach, we're going to talk about the director, Mark
Dubois.
Yeah, I mean, Mark A. Dubois, whatever you want to say. Honestly, man, I mean, this is kind of pretty much the movie that put him on the list, and then after that, he did a lot of Garfield straight to DVD stuff. He did. Garfield. I guess he's doing a Marmaduke movie later this year. I didn't know that was a thing. And then, yeah, I mean, that Spawn is basically his claim to fame. He did Halloween Town High, actually. Which I guess is a sequel to
Halloween Town High? No way.
It's the third movie.
Wow. Yeah. Spawn and Halloween Town. Never would have.
Right.
So let's keep it short and sweet, Edward. First time watch compared to what was it like revisiting it for this episode?
Don't remember my first time watch. No, it was a kid. No, it was as a kid for that matter. And I liked it. So this time, got to experience it as an adult in the first time in like 5-6 years. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Zach, this was your first time watch. What did you think? Few short, sweet words right after the watch.
Johnny, remind people where they can send hate mail. Just in case they need to remember.
If you guys hate Zach's opinion of this movie or just think he needs to be, thrown under a
Psychologically
bus.
thrown
Under a bus. You can send hate mail at cinemen921@gmail.com, or go ahead and just visit any of these social media
Lovely.
marks. But I want to hear your exact thoughts, Zach. Don't hold anything back.
I thought it was awful. I'm gonna be honest. First time watch, I thought this was like one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Dude, how can you hate John Leguizamo like
Craig, we're gonna
that?
go ahead and first time watch for you as well. What'd you think?
I just want to remind everybody that
you can still send hate mail to Zach.
These opinions are of my own, and I know that some people dearly love this movie. Sorry, Kara.
I know.
I agree with
felt
Zach.
so bad.
My mom was not. She didn't hold this movie back because of the content. She held it back because it was dog shit.
Yeah.
So there's my few words.
Like Kara said, the soundtrack, the toys, the posters, the way Spawn looked, the graphic novels. To me, this was a movie when I first watched it, I was like just completely in love with it. Rewatching it for this episode, I still appreciate the aura of Spawn and how that character is and looks. It wasn't unwatchable to me by all means, but some of the CGI was a little rough to get through. But again, it's 25 years old.
Right.
So let's dig into it. Spawn. Again, if you guys want to send us in your star rating, some of you already have. The opening credits, I think, is a pretty fun view. You get the overtone of what the message and what the film is about. And you know what? They don't have opening credits anymore, really. So seeing the music and seeing the little Nicky-like hell background, I thought was a fun opening and a fun way to introduce the film.
Having the dialogue of what the story's about, because I'm sure a lot of people didn't know what it was about.
Right.
But yeah, definitely the 90s music, the dialogue, and that lead intro was one of the better. We don't get that anymore.
Right. And the film is narrated by Cagliostro, who is played by Nicole Williamson.
Cagliostro.
There you go. And I mean, it's short and sweet. The movie's only an hour and 38 minutes if you watch the director's cut, an hour and 29 minutes if you don't watch the director's cut. You get introduced to the clown, talking to Martin Sheen's character. You get introduced to Al Simmons, played by Michael J. White. I got to say this right off the hand because I forgot how he was in this movie. John Leguizamo stole the show in this entire film. What he was doing physically in the clown costume, what he was doing, every single line was a joke. I think John Leguizamo is highly underrated, and this movie kind of proves it.
I mean, in some of his works, it's kind of like it needed to stay in the background, but definitely some of this showcases him in definitely better lights. And I mean, it is very, cringy. It truly is.
What do you mean it was cringy? Like John Leguizamo?
The way his character was, I don't think the how people perpetuated him, but how he made you feel was cringy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah, because I mean, it was a little bit kind of like, okay, I know, and with like Zach mentioned, the eating the waxworms on the pizza was, that's going to lengths right there, man. So hats off to him, but damn.
And we haven't talked a lot of John Leguizamo here on the episode. The latest thing he did was he was in Encanto. He was, I believe, also in a few scenes of John Wick.
Yes.
But the year before Spawn, he was in Romeo and Juliet. Kara just got done talking about Romeo and Juliet. So he's a very diverse actor, and he can definitely dig in to a lot of different roles. But I think he was just phenomenal in this movie. And I think one of the main things I really loved about Spawn was the clown.
Always have loved him.
You tired there, Ed?
Yeah,
a little bit.
I getting into this movie as a first time watch, I had no idea the extent he was going to be in this, and it was really like Spawn was A, he was B. I didn't know he had that big of a role in this movie.
To a degree, yeah, because I mean, essentially, he's kind of jealous of Spawn for that matter. He wants that role, like he even says in the movie, "Why not me?" I wanted. Oh wait, we don't tolerate that talk here. Hold on, I'm sorry, kind of thing. But little things like that just made the character. It made it deeper for that matter, because there's other stuff going on in his head, not just one-liners and perversion. There's a lot of other stuff going back in the back of his mind.
Zach, did you know that the makeup artist that put the Violator together is the same guy who put the T-Rex together in Jurassic Park?
Oh.
Must have needed a paycheck or something. I'll just say about that. I will agree that if John Leguizamo wasn't in this, I don't think I could have finished it. I'm gonna be honest, because I will say he brings a little more
sugar.
charisma. Yeah, he brings charisma to the movie. I'll say that.
For a lot of people that like Spawn, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and dog it and say that it was the worst movie ever, or even say that it's bad. One of the main things that I had a problem with on this recent watch was the guy playing Spawn himself, Michael J. White. He's a stuntman for most of his career, and he does a lot of B like Hollywood films.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I can't believe Spawn, if I can't believe or feel for the main character, I had a little different time watching it this past time.
He was very monotone in his approach. His delivery was the same in almost everything that he did. Whereas
definitely. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, whereas John Leguizamo is very charismatic, like Zach said, Michael J. White was the opposite. He was very monotone, very same delivery on everything. Oh, I'm angry, same delivery. Oh, I'm upset, same delivery. Yeah. And it just kind of got to the point to where, when he was outside of the Spawn costume, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely is a martial artist / like what Juan said, the stuntman in a lot of different films. I feel like he does do better in a lot more of his fighting films recent. For that matter. Well, I mean, like if you go into one of the Never Back Downs, you go into Bone and Blood or Blood and Bone, you go into stuff like that.
But when you go into those movies, that's the delivery you need is like pure badass, like line in, line out.
To where this is more like
a graphic novel superhero movie, and it feels like he's hiding behind the makeup and the costume, and he's just not delivering.
It's not two separate characters that are equal. It's him in the Spawn costume is way up here, and him not in the Spawn costume is down here.
Which, I gotta say, the graveyard scene where they introduce the actual Spawn costume and him digging up the grave, I thought that was a great scene. It was really fun, and even 25 years later, seeing Spawn. I mean, it's even on the cover of the poster, the Blu-ray. Seeing him in that getup, like from head to toe, completely just in full costume, like that whole thing could have been CGI'd, and it would have looked horrible. But it's all prosthetics, it's all makeup, and the entire Spawn outfit. He looked phenomenal in it.
And I will say, this is mine and Zach first time watch, and I think that really does do this film maybe an injustice compared to if we would have watched it back in 1996 when these CGI moments weren't as bad as they are right now.
Yeah.
And if we might have had that nostalgia like you and Ed have, maybe it would be a little bit different for us. But for us coming into it fresh, it's just like, man, this is rough. Like there's no nostalgia for me. There's no like the Spawn outfit's cool when he drops into the building and the cape comes out. All of that was amazing. I just think my review of this film is going to be a product of it being.
Well, you're looking more from the artistic side for that matter. You're looking more from the not just the, okay, what?
Not really. I don't think he's looking more of the artistic side.
I think.
Well, I'm not saying.
We just watched the movie as is. This is a product of 1997, and clearly you and Ed, you and Johnny grew up with this movie, and I don't know if you guys adore it, but I mean, I know you guys definitely like it at least.
It's all right. I mean,
I don't adore it. I definitely will. I can almost look at this as like I'll put up with the movie.
No, what I'm meaning though, not necessarily art as in like, oh, it's Denzel. No, not what I'm meaning. What I'm meaning is, the acting and all that. To where as a kid, you're not looking for that. You're like, dude, the costume. Oh my, exactly what Craig said. Like the costume's awesome. Oh, look how he's flying with the cape, man, and he blends in with the wall. That's awesome too. You know, kind of thing. Like,
you're looking now when we're older, we're digging more into the dialogue. We're digging into more of how it's delivered.
Yeah.
How the chemistry between all of them. And I felt like, was it Martin Sheen?
Oh my God.
I feel like he was very, very same delivery on everything that he did as well. He was just like,
you don't quit us.
I'm the boss.
I feel like that more with him though was the way it was written and told for him, to where Michael Jai is kind of just that's how he is.
Him. Yeah.
I kind of feel like those two are kind of a bit different because Martin Sheen does have some good work out there.
But even though they're giving it the delivery is kind of the same, even though it's like on the different spectrum of the acting skill, like that's just Michael J. White, whereas Martin Sheen was probably trolled to deliver it this way. It still meets in the same criteria spot of like it's the same delivery for the two, and it just kind of gets old and bland.
Or, you know what? I don't want to throw this kind of shade on somebody like Martin Sheen, but maybe he looked at this as more of a
it's a paycheck.
It's a paycheck.
Yeah.
It's a popcorn film. It's not Apocalypse Now. I don't have to go out and put in my best foot effort. It's an action film. I'm the bad guy, and I don't want to say stuff like that because I've never been in those shoes, but I can definitely tell watching it this second time, or this is like the fourth or fifth time around watching it in full. Like I really do feel that way.
Well, and in his defense, comic book movies aren't viewed then as they are now. Even Blade wasn't viewed the same way, even though it was kind of produced by Marvel. It was still produced as here's a comic book movie. Let's just put it out there. Let's do it done. Whereas now it's like we have to have the best CGI. We have to have the best actors. We have to have this, and that. It was just kind of like, hey, we have this movie that's a comic book. Let's bring it to life.
Well, it was kind of done, I don't think it was till either X-Men or Spider-Man that really kind of brought that,
I think it was X-Men.
It was the first X-Men. It kind of got the whole thing going.
Yeah, because I mean, they've seen Blade.
You guys bring that up though, and you kind of forget the 90s was full of Batman movies, and not just
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but those were more prop though. I mean, there were a lot of props and stuff like that. They were more on the kind of
more campy. It was more the campiness of it.
But you watch your mouth.
No, but
I'm just saying how it is, man.
But on the flip side, Batman had TV shows. Batman had kids' cartoon shows. Batman was its own thing, whereas it wasn't viewed as a comic book anymore. It was its own thing.
Yeah. I do think Spawn had its own TV show. If I'm not mistaken.
It had an HBO. It had an HBO show that came out the same year that got highly critically acclaimed. And I think a lot of people, my coworker, you remember Latana, who was with us on the Twilight episode, she grew up watching that. And so when she saw the movie, she's like, it's not as good, but I can see what they were doing. But she appreciates both sides of it.
You go back to 1997, HBO was not nearly as accessible as it is now.
No.
Like you had to have a certain cable package with a certain premium.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that was even before The Sopranos, actually.
I know you had to like the It's a Wonderful Life reference, right?
That one hurt me.
So I will say the next year, actually, there's a 2.5-hour animation action adventure of Spawn 2 that still has Michael Jai White as Spawn in it. This is a voiceover, but I mean, yeah.
What do you guys think of the virus storyline?
Heat 16.
The H16 virus, and it ended up being something that was plugged into Jason Wynn's heart, and if he dies, the virus is released and it kills everybody. Which the basic storyline is real simple. They've been recruiting Al Simmons from the get-go, and he is he is dead. The Spawn is now the he is going to be the leader, and he's going to take the Spawn Hell army and go break down the gates of heaven and destroy Earth.
It's a heaven versus hell. There's been talk about
a remake forever.
No, I'm thinking a holy war. There's been talks about that for years. Like everybody believes not everybody, but many believe there's a holy war between heaven and hell, and everybody kind of gets drafted to either side. And I think going into this, I had no idea that's what Spawn was. I just thought Spawn was some creature that kind of looked like he was evil. I didn't know he was pretty much built from hell to be the leader of the Hell Army, and everything kind of took me a little bit by surprise in this film, watching it the first time. If I'm honest,
yeah.
Because it kind of introduces you in the very beginning of what's going on. Basically, it just like lays the story out on you. Like, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it, and this is how we're doing it. So we're gonna get this guy to do this and do that.
And I think if they were to do a remake of this, somebody could do Spawn justice. Like, I think this could be a very good comic book movie. Yeah. But I just think in the 90s, with the CGI that they had, the kind of cheesy dialogue that they delivered at sometimes, the makeup and everything, I think it was very good for 97, but as a watch in 2022, 25 years later, as a first time, it's rough for me.
The CGI, dude, honestly, it reminded me of like when he's in hell and like the big monster, the devil or whatever it is.
Or whatever.
It looked like a really bad PC game from that time.
Yeah, like a oh man, yeah. No,
and when Spawn goes to hell and he's chasing him, and Spawn goes to kind of like that same CGI, I was just like, God, this is rough, man. But,
and there were a few scenes to where the CGI looked really, really good.
There was scenes.
And then there was some to where it was just atrocious. So it was kind of like, did y'all have two different teams? Was it like this for a reason? Was it like this because
you can obviously tell the ones that were like horrible looking were the ones where the entire thing is CGI. Yeah. Like the hell scenes. Anytime you saw the devil, when you saw
the cape kind of surround Spawn, I thought those were very those could still pass. Some of them could still pass today.
Or when you see the Violator, when he's on top of the building and he's doing his thing. There were times where it was rough, but when he was in the rain, it looked good. What'd you guys think of the little kid?
It was a sweet addition. It kind of felt almost Disney-like and kind of pushed to make Spawn. It did because
I was laughing at Johnny's reaction.
He felt pushed to make Spawn a good guy, kind of.
Miko Hughes, and we've talked about him before. He was in Wes Craven's Last Nightmare, or Wes Craven's New Nightmare. He's also the kid in Pet Sematary. I talked a few weeks ago on Friday the 14th. Speaking of Friday the 14th, guys, don't forget this Wednesday, Friday the 14th, me, the bad guy Nick H., Mr. Fuentes, and a very special guest is going to talk about 13 Ghosts.
Oh, man.
Yeah, 13 Ghosts this Wednesday, 8 p.m., Friday the 14th. I can't wait. So
that's a hard watch for me, 13 Ghosts.
Really?
It is. Like the creatures and everything still get me because I remember seeing them as a kid, and it's just like, it's tough.
And you can catch that episode this Wednesday, 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. So Friday the 14th, 13 Ghosts. What'd you think? I didn't like the scenes where, first off, the ballroom scene where he goes in and he kills the chick, the mercenary chick.
Yeah,
I thought those were some fun scenes put together.
Yeah. When he drops down into the ballroom, that cave's going out. I was like that kind of made the movie worthwhile to watch because I was like, that is a badass scene.
And that's one of the better scenes for that matter, just because, like you just said, Craig. The CGI in that part kind of holds up for that matter, And I would argue that the fact that putting the CGI in a life background is harder to do than it is just all CGI. And I mean, like, I get the
because you have to make it blend.
Yeah,
exactly.
This movie kind of proved opposite, though.
And that's the thing, because I'm just like, were there two teams?
When you had CGI mixed with
practical
effects, it looked good. But when it was all CGI,
that's what he was saying. Like, it's harder to make it blend in with the real world because, like, in 1997, obviously we see hell, like how bad we think that is. Imagine trying to blend that with real world, and I think they did it very well in the real world compared to having it all CGI. So I don't know if they spent more time on the cape and everything, and they were just like, "Oh, all this kind of blends in. It's gonna," and it could have been that the computers back then weren't able to process all of that.
Right.
You have it all CGI, and it's you just can't process it the same way you can with just having a little bit on screen.
Turns out that the cape was 35% of the budget.
Yeah. So
I wonder how it would have looked if they did a practical huge cape like that. Yeah.
Ooh, even if Batman?
It was, but not like 24/7 with him, but just a scene like that.
I mean, honestly, part of me wants to say that it would be kind of a hard thing to do just because of the way the cape has to maneuver, but at the same time, because it should get ripped and all that, but at the same time, his cape's all ripped up anyways.
Well, I'm not even talking about it doesn't have to be as big as it was when he jumped down from the top of the ceiling. I'm like they have it on the cover, and they didn't even use that length.
I agree. Yeah, that wasn't even a practical cape. Yeah.
Yeah.
The main thing for this movie that gets me is just it's a product of its time. The costumes on the regular people, the CGI where he blows up the plane at the very beginning, John Leguizamo being the clown, as good as it was for, I guess, the movie in '97, it's very rough in 2022. There's no nostalgia for me. There are some very good scenes in this movie.
Just not
the cape. Not enough to save it, and the scenes that it's really good are just kind of quick. There's no dialogue, there's no real story to it. It's just kind of like action shots. If there was more scenes where the dialogue was good and you were just like, man, that was a great conversation between Jay and Martin Sheen. There's none of that to kind of save it. It's all just the dialogues are pretty bad, but then here's a few good action shots.
Yeah,
for me.
Zach, what about you? Same thing, or you sound like it's a little bit more cautious on your
I was about to say no. It's more.
No, I can't even say that I can't even say I'm hating it just to be hating it. It's just one of those things where just when I watched it, I'm just like, it baffles me, and that's probably not even the right word, but it confuses me that this was a thing back in the 90s. I mean, the first thing I have is like 90s cheese, action, and the music. The score is so, like Kara said, it's a product of its time. It was during the time when soundtracks were a big thing. And so, they would have a single, maybe two, that would drive the promotion or whatever to make people go see the movie. But I just, if they came out today and said that there was a remake in the process, in the works, I'd be like, I'm not interested.
I actually would be interested. I'll disagree with you there. I think
who would they get to play him?
I mean, you could do a lot of people right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. One of the hot ones right off the bat would be Michael B. Jordan for that matter.
I don't think Michael B. Jordan.
I'd see it if it was Michael B. Jordan.
I don't think he would fit the Spawn well.
I mean, don't get me wrong, his acting chops, and I mean, I'm taking more off of what he did with Black Panther for that matter. Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he has the affinity for a fighting, with that and with Creed for that matter as well. So, and then he also has the acting chops in almost everything he's done.
And Johnny, I know you didn't like Without Remorse, but he can pull off like the rogue military guy really, really well. I mean, if anything, that's the best part of that film.
Give me Denzel.
If you don't want that, Mahershala Ali for that matter, you could go there,
He's doing Blade.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, you could go there. You could do several different guys right now. you could even do I don't remember his name at the time.
Idris
so Juan,
Elba?
help me. Yeah, Idris Elba.
I think he would be a good Spawn.
The guy from Nope.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yes, you could do him for that matter.
Yeah.
There's a ton of good actors.
Idris Elba would have been the perfect choice.
Idris Elba as Spawn in a remake, I think would be a damn good film.
And I mean, him and Michael Jai White are kind of similar, probably height and almost. I wouldn't say build, but
I don't think
decent
the
size.
The same build.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying for the height and the kind of almost intimidating factor of the character. That size. But
I mean, you could CGI that.
Yeah.
It could be a bunch of different things, bunch of different guys.
I do think Spawn as a character. I think if they were to remake it, it would be as long as it would
be the prime time.
It would be a good film if they were to remake it.
Well, I mean, and now it would be a prime time with all the characters and comics, and
the writer Todd McFarlane. I'm surprised that they haven't lifted anything up off the ground yet. But I mean,
there's talk that Jason Blum is interested in doing it, kind of like maybe do like an action horror film. What this is, I think this is the initial way of doing it. Kind of bring it back to basics and do kind of go back to the graphic novel being just a straight up horror movie.
Yeah, it should have been rated R.
Yeah, and this is PG-13.
Yeah.
Or I mean,
I didn't like the ending where it was taking place in, Teresa, or not Teresa. Well, her real name is Teresa, but I didn't like where it took place in front of Wanda's, eating area. I do like how the clown was throughout the movie, just grotesque and perverted, and like I think he would have done awesome if it was rated R. I mean, there's some small
version. It's like a weird version of Pennywise a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's some small stuff to pin on and kind of like nitpick on it. But I agree with you guys. If this is a first time watch for anybody, it's on Netflix. You can let us know what you think about it. Spawn, like I said, it's a nostalgia act from 1997.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think the ending fight was kind of weird, just because the clown could kind of shapeshift. You see that a little bit earlier, but he shapeshifts and he's like taking over Wanda, and he's like, "Oh, kill me!" And then it was just, I don't know. I felt like Spawn was going to be larger than life the way everybody talked about it. And
I would agree with that.
I felt like it was very, compared to movies we have today, it was very mellow. There was not. It didn't feel like a superhero.
It was very bland. Like I don't really know what they were going for. Was it just like a straight up he's a demon, or is he a superhero?
Yeah. I think it all falls on the guy playing Spawn.
And I'll even say with some of the costume, it reminded me of, or I don't know if reminded, but it kind of made me think of Deadpool in a way. With kind of the
wisecracks.
Well,
because he's a burnt victim.
Well, no, Deadpool's not really a burn victim; he's a cancer victim. But different stuff like that. I mean, honestly, with the skin,
they both look like a nutsack.
Wow, topographical map.
Yeah, I think that's just the biggest thing for me. I thought it was going to be larger than life. It was very bland, very mellow. The character for Spawn didn't do it for me. I thought Michael Jai White was going to be much better in this than he was.
He's always, anytime I always go back and watch it, he's always been like the worst part about this movie for me.
And
there's a reason you're a stuntman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'll admit, there was a part of me that was like, he was playing Spawn. I was like, okay, maybe this isn't as bad as what I think was going to be. And
I think that's the reason. I mean, this movie, the director, the writer, they gave him the opportunity. The movie was there, the budget was there, and I feel like he dropped the ball.
Yeah,
this movie could have catapulted him into that Will Smith status. And
but here's the thing: I don't think he's not that guy. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
He's not.
And I don't think it's his fault for being casted as that role when
he took the job.
He did take it,
Yeah.
but that falls on the casting director getting somebody who when you're getting somebody, you should be looking for more things than just, oh, he's big, he's tall, he knows, he's
Martial arts,
martial arts.
Yeah.
There should be, how do you deliver the lines? The way you deliver the lines. Can you do all the acting and physical stuff that we want you to do?
He was also probably a lot cheaper than everybody else too.
Yeah.
Well, and you have to have charisma. You have to bring charisma to this character where it's just like, I want to root for him to succeed, and that just doesn't happen every time he's on screen. It was like, okay, you're in.
Well, and I get you can't really deliver facial features with the way his face and makeup was, but the lines did no justice for him.
No, absolutely not.
Talk about some favorite scenes before we get out of here, guys. It's been a little of a girthy episode, but we appreciate it and we loved the interview with Kara. And going back, we knew that these Pardon the Pandemic series would be just a little bit longer. So thank you for everybody who's downloaded and listened and checking us out on YouTube page.
Hey.
Favorite scenes, Ed? We'll start with you. What's your favorite scene?
Honestly, where he drops down. I mean, that's kind of the main. That's the main choice right there for that matter in my eyes. I like Michael Jai White's fighting styles, how he knows what to do in his physicality when he is in action scenes. But I mean, he definitely isn't the lead guy. He's the guy that's behind the lead guy that's going to kick the other guy's ass for that matter. He's not your lead guy. Yeah. So I've got to say, any of his action scenes, I really like. The drop down scene in the party or whatever, that was really cool. But and I will probably agree with what you said earlier, the graveyard scene. So
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Anything that John Leguizamo was in, the clown, he stole the show. He is the movie. So yeah, clown was it for me. Zach, what about you?
The ending credits.
Craig, what about you?
I'm not going to be near as short as Zach. I did like the drop down in the ballroom. I did like whenever the cape went around the bike and it kind of made the whole like Batmobile kind of bike. Anything where the cape kind of took over and did something for him. I thought the chains were great, where it was kind of able, like, the suit is a part of you. You can control it, kind of thing. Didn't like Cagliostro, though. I didn't touch that. He was like a Obi-Wan Kenobi that was kind of weird and felt like he was wanting to, like, you want a popsicle?
He was very getting get in my van.
I got a bad version of Ghost Rider and the other guy kind of deal. Like with his get up and all that, kind of a bad version of that.
So yeah, I think any scene where the suit kind of took over and made something for him, and then I guess a little bit of John Leguizamo. He didn't do it all the way for me, but I did like some of his scenes.
The birthday scene too, where he's like, "Get up, crispy, get up, crispy."
Oh my god!
And he's over there like the clown is smoking. He's got the cigarette in his hand and he's drinking the
he's drinking the Wellers and Coke.
Star rating, Ed, we'll start with you.
Gonna go with a 6. It's mainly that high because of the
nostalgia
and sentimental value for that matter. Watching it when I was a kid. I like Michael Jai White, but I mean, didn't really deliver in the actor role. So I mean, there's that. But yeah,
Zach,
6.
You want to guess my star rating?
I don't.
A 2.
Listen, look. If you grew up with this and it's nostalgia for you, that's fine. That totally, it powers the opinion on your film. But for me, as a first-time watch, it took everything in my power not to turn this off. To be honest, I'm giving it a 3. Honestly,
nice. We got Lion King status here.
I honestly thought Zach was going to give it like a 1. The way he was talking about it and the way I'm talking about it, I was going to do a 3 as well.
3.
I was borderline 2. But
Two different 3s though. I got to respect it. 2 different 3s. One feels like a 3+. The other one feels like a 3-.
I think Zach was just being nice and not wanting to get completely hated.
Because I know that's coming next week.
I want 100% full-fledged Honestly,
Yeah, I think
you attitude.
So as a film, it didn't deliver for me. I think there were great parts. I think Spawn is a very promising character if they wanted to revisit it. I think there were promising parts in the movie. I don't necessarily think anybody as an actor overachieved in this film, and it's kind of bottom tier for me. So
I think just because of the '90s feel and growing up and seeing this at an early age, then I'm not even going to use the nostalgia feel because I want to, but I feel like that's a cop out. I'm going to give this movie exactly what it is. I'm going to give this movie a 7, and that's just because of the prosthetics, the makeup, the story. It doesn't linger. It kind of just it's in and it's out. Leaves the $5 at the end of the bed. And it just feels like it's there to do its job. If you're going in to watch a cult classic masterpiece, I don't even think you're going to get that, but I think you're going to get a fun, devilish popcorn movie with bad CGI and a funny clown. So
sorry,
no, good.
I was going to say again. I think my rating kind of reflects how it was perceived in my eyes the way other people talked about it, where I was going in expecting just this bigger than life, like comic book hero, like an Iron Man coming in and he's like, I'm that dude. And it just wasn't that way for me.
I think this could have been like an 8 or a 9 for me if somebody else did play Spawn, but right off the bat, just talking about, the goods and the positives, I do think there's more positives than negatives with this movie. But
it was
negative. The negatives are up there. But if you guys want to send us your star rating for Spawn, send it in at CINEMEN921.
Again, don't hate me. Don't hate me. I said all my opinions are of my own.
You guys can list also and send us some messages on the Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Instagram is all one word, The Cine-Men Movie Podcast. And the Twitter is at Cine-Men405. It's the end of the episode, and you know what that means.
The mail's here.
So you guys can send us some mail at CINEMEN921 or any of the other social media posts, and I'll read them a lot as well. Quentin says, in no way is Hustle a 9. I feel like it's a good story, but the poor surrounding cast, Sandler can't save it by himself. 6 stars.
Fair.
Sarah97 says, Spawn is an all-time favorite for me. Can't wait to hear you guys' review. 10 stars. Barry says, wow, I haven't seen Spawn in a long time. It didn't age well for me, but it's still kind of fun. 7 stars.
Okay.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, Craig, you better get ready for next week, bro. You and me.
Nathaniel says, I can see why Lightyear bombed. It wasn't very entertaining. Disney's other chances for a cash grab, and it didn't work. Lightyear gets a 6 for me.
6 isn't bad.
Chance says Obi-Wan is the best Disney series on Disney Plus right now. 9 stars.
I feel like Miss Marvel's competing against it. I think Star Wars just has the
last episode of Miss Marvel did not do it for me.
No, I haven't seen the last one.
So slow. Yeah, I don't know. Josh says listening to your Jurassic World episode is more entertaining than the film. It proves that Ed is high every single week giving this movie an 8. I'd give it a 5 at best, but it is still better than Jurassic Park 3.
Ed, did you really give it an 8?
Yeah.
Zach, come on. Do you really have to question that?
No,
I said he gave it the same as
the Google
No Country.
subscribers.
Oh, so that would be a 7.
Oh, wow.
The Marion, I watched the live stream of UHD and I loved you and Nick's thoughts on Saint Maud. Definitely made me think about the movie twice as much after I watched the episode. Rewatch the movie, and I have to agree, it's a great watch. If you could do more A24 movies on UHD, what would it be? I'm bringing them all out. I'm bringing them all out. I'm suggesting everything. We might have talked about them here on this show, but we're doing them all. I'm bringing them out. Look to keep an eye out on The Witch, Midsummer. I'll talk about it all. Victor says Obi-Wan is a fantastic show. Love the ending. I hope they leave it as is though. 8 stars.
That's fair.
Henry, man, Spawn was tough. I would rather watch the Lonely Island Boys talk about a box of dicks. 4 stars. Never again.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do like me some Lonely Island though.
Yeah, Lonely Island's funny.
Sam G69. Yo, I just rented Father's Day and I don't know what I just sat through, but I think I liked it. Father's Day had me thinking about my future and why I need to be a part of it. Oh, the stream was fun though. Keep it up. I gotta say, if you guys have not seen Father's Day, just don't eat hot dogs while you're watching it, okay?
I feel like I don't even want to watch it now.
It's interesting. You have to.
We're probably not going to, let's be honest.
Is it better than Spawn?
Each to their own. Gabriel says my top 5 Netflix movies are in this order. Number 5, Hustle. Number 4, The Meyerowitz Stories. Number 3, Extract. Number 2, Malcolm and Marie. Number 1, Bird Box. Oh, this is funny. I can't wait to get to that one. Omar says Hustle was really good. A surprise of the year. 9 stars. I just want to see who laughs during this email. Edgar says, I don't know if anyone has ever seen it or whether it's even worth mentioning on Friday the 14th or the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, but I would love to hear somebody's review about this movie. Can I please get somebody to talk about Antichrist?
Oh, man. So what's up, boys? What's up?
That's a Thursday podcast for you and Ed.
You know what? I think I might have to bring that to the table on Friday the 14th. That should be fun.
Leave it over there. I've read about it. That's all I need to know.
You guys can talk about the Defoe all you want.
Oh, there's the D in the Defoe.
Oh.
Coco Chris says Spawn was a decent watch, but I would never sit through it again. It's fine. 5 stars.
There he goes, getting that word around.
Lawrence says, and we'll leave it at this because we're going to talk about more Obi-Wan on Thursday. Lawrence says, I think Obi-Wan was fun. 3 good episodes, but 3 mediocre episodes. I'd leave it and give it a 6.
But I mean, if you want to think about it that way, if they were to do a movie, you get 3 episodes is about 2.5 hours. Just got to watch 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. Next week, guys, we are coming to you live from the historic Rodeo Cinema, 2221 Exchange Avenue. It is our 200th episode, and we will be live on location. Come out, say hi, say bye, poke your head out, do whatever you need to do. Just come see us for a second. Come sit and, Ed might even let you to, you can see a thigh slap in person. But I think it's gonna be fun next Monday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Hang out, do what you need to do. Everything has been buckling down from this. Going on 4 years in the making. We finally get to do a live show. It's been a goal of mine for a very, very long time. And we're less than 8 days away from making it happen.
Ed said autographs are 50. To go smoke in the back, it's 100.
There we go.
You got to pay for the product. You know what I'm saying? Look, man. Slap, $5.
Oh, my God.
And, there's going to be plenty of stuff you guys can win. There's going to be physical door prizes. There's going to be a certificate to San Marcos Mexican Restaurant. So come hang out, and you'll never know what you walk away with. So we might even give away a signed headset.
Or a recording of, the first commercial.
Don't do that.
First commercial.
So it's gonna be pretty fun. We've all been a part of this podcast since day one-ish, and all 4 of us are we're happy and excited. Even if there's 5 people who show up, I think it's just cool sitting in that 100-year-old plus building.
Yeah.
Recording live. I think that's going to be a fun time.
We got to do it like Brent Musburger. You are looking live, like he did on
true. Yeah, and we'll have the cameras with us, so we'll be going and taking the cameras around, seeing how everything is. Thursdays bonus episodes return this Thursday, June 30th, 7:30 p.m. Me, Craig, and Ed are talking about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. July is written and ready to be talked about. Next week, July 4th, Independence Day. July 11th, Thor, Love and Thunder. July 18th, Malcolm X. July 25th, we end the month with Nope. So a fun calendar, a fun month of July. Guys, I can't wait for next week. 200th episode, Independence Day, 4th of July, right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.